That's the problem I have with going back to Dairy Queen. I love Dairy Queen. They gave me the Superman Blizzard, but like with Dairy Queen, their burgers, they got too much bread. I feel that there's too much bun going on there. Their meat to bun ratio is off, and I think they should recognize that. Yeah, so I saw with your mic, you talked about, wanting to have the color scheme set up to be rainbow and
Hmm.
whatnot, which I think is good as well because it is just cool to look at. But yeah, I liked how you drew back to +1 to all stats
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Even when we're not playing games, we're still thinking of games the whole way through. But yeah, Dakota, I just want to say thank you for welcoming back into your home and also for coming on the podcast as well. And this is kind of a new and improved version of the Far Out podcast because since the last time I came over, as you can see before us, the kids can't see, but you can see, I've got new mics, lots of cables, a little box here. I'm working with a new computer program. So, yeah, this is kind of the inaugural testing of the new equipment. And I can't think of a better person to do it with because you were such a great guest last time. So I know it's just going to equal for another great conversation.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, since we last got together, a lot has happened. For myself, I've laughed, I've cried, I've had good days, I've had bad days. And so, for you, in between us getting together, what's something that you've done or what's something that you want to do, anything like that that's been happening since we last got together?
Oh man. I mean, outside of like the topics that you wanted to talk
Yeah,
about, like
like before
anything
we get
else?
into those
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
topics.
Okay. Um,
I mean, like we had a
man, I don't
friend that
know.
got
I mean,
married.
oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that was a
Man,
fun wedding.
that was a really cool wedding too. Like, cause the ceremony was early in the morning,
Yeah.
so having kind of like the freedom of the afternoon to kind of eat and
Hmm.
catch up with people was really nice.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, the food and the reception afterwards was actually really good too.
Yeah, it was really good
It was
too.
like, 'cause I went into that I didn't expect there to actually be food. Yeah, I thought it was just gonna be snacks,
Right.
and they're like, oh no, it's an actual meal,
Yeah.
and it's like it wasn't just a meal, it was a buffet,
Yeah, it was quite good.
and it's like, dang, all right, cool. I'm not complaining,
Yeah.
but
Did you end up having any wedding cake?
I did, yeah.
How was it? Because I ended up passing on it. Not because I was like, I don't want cake, but I just ended up doing other things.
I think it was all right. I mean, like, I honestly I'm not like the biggest cake person.
Hmm.
Like when it comes to sweets, it's usually not my thing.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest, like I'm much more of like a salty foods kind of person.
more of a salty kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah, very salty.
So
Wink,
like,
wink.
then would you have preferred, would you have preferred like a big old pizza as opposed to a big wedding cake at our friend's wedding? Like, are you kind of on that wavelength of salt?
I mean, not really. I mean, like if we're talking about like salty or not salty, but like desserts in general, it's usually not my thing. Like if like my snacks are basically like crackers,
Hmm.
or like sunflower seeds. Like eat a lot of sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
But like in a wedding, I don't know. Maybe like cheesecake.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Honestly,
great
like
choice.
cheesecake, I actually do really like.
Very solid choice. What's fun is that nowadays people, well, not just nowadays, we've been doing this for forever, but like every now and then I'll see on Twitter, people are asking like, if you could have any restaurant cater your wedding, what would you want it to be? And like for me, the idea of having like just really good fast food just on rotation
Oh, that'd be great.
sounds great because like this sounds so cliched. I'm gonna sound like I'm just like a child, but like the idea of having like McDonald's
Yeah.
cater and you can have just a big trough of McNuggets and fries and
Oh my
whatever.
gosh, dude, just a cattle trough
Yeah,
of fries. Like, oh my gosh.
yeah. No, that would be fantastic. What restaurant or fast food place would you want to cater your wedding?
Oh gosh. I mean, any answer I give, Sarah will disagree with.
Oh, really?
Like, but like, I think it'd be really funny to do like KFC and
Oh,
just like
great
just
choice.
fried chicken.
Yeah,
Like, cause I love fried chicken.
that's a great choice.
Like like a wedding that Sarah and I went to last year. Was actually really funny because they had a wedding where it was basically like it was like super formal,
Hmm. Yeah.
like everyone's wearing like a suit and tie,
Yep.
you know. So me as a dude that's very much not a formal person like at all.
Okay.
I like it felt a little weird I have dress clothes because Sarah and I are dating
Yeah.
and for like no other reason.
Yeah.
But that wedding was it was super goofy because, the ceremony it was beautiful, it was wonderful, super fancy. Everyone was like dressed to the nines, but the catering was pizza and chicken wings.
Beautiful.
And I'm like, that's such a dichotomy, but it's great.
Well, I mean, if I was in charge of that wedding planning, I think I would try to plan for that dichotomy like on purpose because it's like if we're going all out
Yeah.
on the suits and the ties, we need people to let loose a little bit, have the food be the kind of release, the relaxing thing for me. But
I don't know.
you
This
know,
is like a good point though. And frankly, pizza and chicken wings are just like
well, yeah,
a top
it's a
pick.
grand slam food combo there.
Yeah.
Like, so are you a KFC guy, Popeyes guy? Like, what kind of chicken do you really gravitate towards?
Uh, Honestly, probably the Hugo's fried chicken.
That's pretty solid.
Mainly because like I haven't had too many good experiences with the KFC
Yeah.
here in town.
Mm-hmm.
The last couple times I've been there, like the chicken was undercooked.
Ooh,
It's you bite into it and you're just like, oh dear,
not good.
oh no,
Yeah.
oh dear, I might get sick from this.
I recently, speaking of the world of chicken, I went to Walmart recently, and you can buy those rotisserie chickens that are in a bag,
Yeah.
kept under those, you know, heating lamps and whatever.
Hmm.
And I did that. I took it back to my place, and I ate the whole thing like the animal that I am. Not like the whole thing, not like to where I was like, licking the bones, but like, I mean, I was just cutting off pieces, and
Yeah.
I ate nearly a whole bird in one sitting.
Dude, I do the same thing with the Hugo's rotisserie
Yeah,
chickens. Like it's
it's
just like they're good,
yeah,
It's like just I, chicken's good. Like
chicken is good.
that's the moral of the story.
What do you think is the best fast food place? And I want to actually have like a discussion about this
Okay.
because like McDonald's, king of the French fries,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
like but you look at like, Dairy Queen, king of the ice cream,
Hmm.
like what do you think overall is the best bang for your buck in terms of food, price, atmosphere, fast food?
Oh um, man, that's a good question.
Yeah, it requires some thought. I was thinking about it on the way here because I was thinking about food because I'm a little hungry right now. So
Yeah,
like later after we're done recording, I'm gonna definitely swing through a drive-through somewhere. I don't know
yeah.
what to get.
I don't, I don't know. I mean, bang for buck, maybe honestly, probably Freddy's.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest,
solid
like
choice.
I think, I think it's because you like the burgers are really good,
Hmm.
and like the fries are they're good, but they're not. I don't argue they're not quite McDonald's good,
Yeah,
but you don't overpay for the meals,
yeah,
in my opinion. Um, like I don't think I've ever been to Freddy's, I've eaten the food, and immediately thought afterwards, like I'm still hungry.
yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna say an answer that I think is gonna get a little bit of derision. For me,
Okay.
I you know, McDonald's is king, of course. Like they're the fast food,
Yeah.
kings and whatnot. I had one person describe to me that they thought McDonald's was like the fast food, the food that like people would eat like in cartoons. Like it's like cartoon food. Like it's so good, it's so easy to eat. For me though, I'll die on this hill. I think Burger King is an unsung hero
Really?
of the fast food world.
Okay.
I think that their burgers are hearty. They've got
Hmm.
good chicken. Their fries, they carried the fry department fine. And then on the side of Burger King, you could get like, a pie or ice cream. And like at McDonald's, their ice cream machines are always broken.
Yeah, that's true.
Burger King doesn't really have that issue going on. And like again, Dairy Queen, known for their ice cream, not so much for their burgers. Like,
Yeah.
like you're like, hey, I'm feeling burgers. Let's go to Dairy Queen. Not really something you hear a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I'm a big BK defender. But
So how do you feel about their chicken fries?
they're overrated and like not like needed. Like I wish they would have just like gone after something more original.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point. I mean, in terms of like their sides, honestly, their onion rings are still pretty good.
Onion rings are solid.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like the chicken fries, I just think they're weird.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a great word for it. They're a little weird. They're a little
it
out there.
it's why not just chicken strips? You know,
That's a great thing. Yeah, you'd think they would have done that too.
it seems like it was a choice that was based purely upon marketability
Well, yeah,
rather than like I don't know.
flavor
Yeah, I'm
or
like,
functionality.
it's like oh yay, I got. I don't know. It's like I don't know. People might disagree with this, but it's kind of how I feel about fish sticks.
Fish
Just
sticks.
just give me the whole fish.
Yeah, you like
Like
fish though?
I do like fish, yeah.
Have you had the fish fillet sandwich from McDonald's?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay.
Like it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I
I
I
do
beg to
like it
differ.
though.
No, for me the fish sandwich is the premier item at McDonald's.
I don't really do Lent, you know, because I'm not
Sure.
Catholic.
Okay.
But when Lent is happening, they have like the 2-for-1
Yep.
filet o fish, and I'm
Yep.
like that's a solid deal.
Heck of a deal.
Like I like that.
Shout out to the Catholic community for getting us those meal deals. You know what I mean? like,
It's like if your theology keeps getting me free filet o fishes, like keep at it.
yeah. No, I look, the idea of going to anywhere fast food related and getting fish is asinine.
Yeah.
The idea of going to McDonald's and getting fish, I was so against it for years. Then finally I caved and I had one and my life changed. I For me, that's my go-to meal. Like if I'm having a bad day and I'm
Yeah.
driving down the road and I'm like, man, life sucks. The work sucked today. I don't like this. I don't like that. And if I happen to pass a McDonald's, comfort food, I'm pulling into that drive-thru. I'm getting me a big old fish fillet. Like,
Dude, like like for like fast food, I guess fish items. I agree. Like it is like probably one of the best, if not the best. Like the last time I ended up getting fast food fish was actually at Culver's because they
ooh,
had like a
so
fish and chips
yep,
basket or whatever.
very good.
Not the greatest. Like
What?
it was very weird. Like it was okay, but I overpaid for it because it was fish like in the middle of winter.
Yeah,
You go figure.
sure,
And there was like it was deep fried, but there was way more like fried like crust
sure.
as compared to the actual fish.
That's a bummer.
So you bite into it and it's just like I'm sure there is a fish in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm still working on finding it.
That's the problem I have with going back to Dairy Queen. I love Dairy Queen. They gave me the Superman Blizzard, but like with Dairy Queen, their burgers, they got too much bread. I feel that there's too much bun going on there. Their meat to bun ratio is off, and I think they should recognize that.
I mean, that might be why they can keep like the burgers as cheap as they do
Maybe,
because it's like it's there's just less meat, you
yeah.
know?
Kind of same with Wendy's though too. I feel that sometimes there's a little too much bun. However, I will give a caveat to Wendy's. I love their pretzel buns, to where I'm like,
Really?
give me more bun.
I don't think I've had the pretzel buns yet.
Oh, it's a grand slam.
Okay. Well, I'll store that in my
It,
back pocket.
it's super good. And the last thing we can, unless you want to just go on another 20 minutes about fast food, but like
I've got nothing going on
okay,
today. Like
but
you're it.
despite me saying how I'm a defender of Burger King, their
Mm-hmm.
fish sandwich, awful. I wouldn't cross the street for a Burger King fish sandwich. So
Noted.
disappointed.
Is it actually fish?
I don't know, but it must have just been plucked from whatever body of water it was in because it was so sloppy and wet
Oh,
and
gross.
messy, and I felt like I was drinking while I chewed. Like it was not great.
Oh geez. Oh, so you like bite into it and it's just like fish oil
Oh, it's
like
just
everywhere.
it's just
Like
yeah. I just got a mouthful of liquid.
that's just gross,
Yeah,
man.
it wasn't great. Shout out Burger King, but like the fish sandwich department, they're lacking a little bit there. But where we're not lacking, though, is in entertainment. I mean,
Yes.
going to the theaters and watching things on the YouTubes and the Netflixes. But in addition to those streaming services, Apple, one of the newest streaming services on the block here, they made a new movie called F1. The last time you and I got together for the podcast, actually, the inception of us getting together at all was because I found out that you are a big fan of F1, and I mean this sincerely and nicely. You're the
Mhm.
first person I've ever known to have said like F1 is my sport. Like for people,
Yeah.
when you say like what kind of sports you're into, they say basketball, football, baseball, what have you. For you, it was F1, and so
Mhm.
I was really interested to not only discuss F1 with you as we did previously, but also to get your feedback on the movie. I have since seen the movie twice.
Okay.
I believe you've only seen it once,
Yep.
correct?
I saw it once in theaters
Okay.
with Sarah.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on the F1 movie?
I actually really liked it. There are like if you like you if you, even if you even if you watched like a couple races of F1, you can watch the F1 movie and be like, I don't know if that would actually fly,
Uh-huh.
because there is some creative liberties taken in terms
Yeah.
of like what you can and can't get away with in an actual F1 race.
These are things I wanted to talk to you about specifically, but keep going.
But if you can kind of like suspend the disbelief a little bit in those areas, it's actually like a really well done movie. Like
I think,
I
yeah,
enjoyed it
I
wholeheartedly,
did too.
like I mean it was directed by the same guy that directed Top Gun Maverick,
Yep.
which it is apparent like when you
Yeah,
watch it
you
because
can tell.
yeah, because it's like it's the old guy that's coming in to fix a team
Yep.
of rookies
100%.
or rookie in this case I suppose,
Yeah, a
but it,
rookie. But yeah,
yeah yeah
a younger team overall, not just with the driver.
yeah because like I'm kind of like a sucker for those kind of matchups anyways,
Hmm.
because it's like the back in my day this is how we did it.
Yeah.
Um but I really enjoyed it, and like the character of Sonny I think is just interesting in general.
Yeah.
um Honestly, I don't have too many complaints about the movie other than like the areas where they try to like they try to make it. I don't know. I don't know if the phrase is if they tried to make it more realistic is the right phrase, because there are pieces where because it was marketed as like a authentic F1 movie,
Yeah.
that was
100%.
very much what it was marketed as, and yes and no. Like
Okay.
they had my real issues with the authenticity is more so with like how like the penalties were handled,
That was
with
the
like
big thing for me.
the like the crashing, because one of my coworkers was like he watched it before I did. He's
Hmm.
not really an F1 fan,
Yeah.
and he was like, there seems to be like a lot of crashing and like
That
a lot
was
of running into people.
that was my exact thought because and we're going to talk about the movie in a pretty free-flowing way here to really dissect it. So you could call this, spoiler conversation.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like
Spoiler alert.
but yeah, spoiler alert, but like in the movie, this was my biggest thing was that Sonny Hayes is, him and his companion, his other racer, they're trying to gain time against the other racers, and to do that, they're essentially doing these maneuvers that have the race be delayed, where Sonny Hayes would either deliberately crash into something on the side of the track and make debris, or he would clip another racer just enough to not cause catastrophic failure, but enough to where everyone needed to pit. But then by doing
Yeah,
so, Sonny's partner racer wouldn't need to pit, and so he would make up that time on the track. And like I was watching the movie because he does it like 3 or 4 times, and I turned to my mom and I was like, would none of the officials or any of the pit crew be like, "Wow, this Sonny guy sure is crashing a lot. Boy, that sure does stink." You know?
yeah. Because they really played into the whole like this guy is a washed up F1 racer.
Yeah. Well, they say Sonny isn't a has been; he's a never was.
Yeah. So like they really went hard into that, and I guess if this was like a real life situation, like I think it would be they're really going for the he's an idiot and doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
It's like it wasn't malicious. He's just dumb. He
Yeah.
just can't drive an
Right.
F1 car.
Yep.
But in an actual F1 race, I don't actually think that would be. He'd probably get black flagged,
Well,
honestly,
yeah.
because like I mean, because I can't think of any situations where that like something like that has even remotely come close to happening, except for maybe I think it was like 2003, 2004. There was like a race with the Renault F1 team where one of the crashes by one of the drivers was heavily debated on whether or not if it was intentional or not.
Okay.
But that's that's a bit of a rabbit hole. That's
Okay.
separate from the movie. But
We can go down that rabbit hole if you want to.
I mean, it's like the Cliff Notes version is kind of like one of the drivers was like going to get cut, if I remember right, and he didn't really like it like that, so he kind of like threw the chances of like the team winning the constructors
So it's like if I'm gonna
championship.
go down, you're gonna go down with me type deal.
Kind of, yeah. I might be misquoting that a little bit because I haven't like actually read through the history of it, but
Yeah.
that did get brought up a couple times in like different people talking about the movie.
Yeah.
When it came to like intentional crashing
Yep.
and that type of thing. That's like Sonny Hayes in the movie that that would have been considered like bad sportsmanship,
Yeah, 100%.
Um, and I think it's cool that they tried to integrate a lot of the scenes with other actual F1 drivers too.
Yeah,
Like in addition to that, I thought that was interesting, but I don't think it necessarily benefited the movie all that much.
interesting.
It seemed like a lot of the it seemed like the racers and like team principals when they were in the F1 movie, it was more like cameos,
Yeah, it was pretty
you
much.
know? Like they weren't important for the plot.
Yeah,
Um so in terms of like the whole idea of like this is an authentic F1 movie, it kind of seemed like they were really stretching that a little bit for
yeah,
the sake of marketability.
yeah. I mean, that was the chief selling point for this movie. That was what got me, just someone who doesn't know anything about F1, to look at the movie because Apple is Apple. For them, 200 million is a $10 bill.
Yeah.
So they were cutting blank checks to get real cars to perform on real tracks, and then I read that there was some footage that they captured during real legitimate races, like the whole Las Vegas sequence. That was when the actual race was in Las Vegas.
Yeah, yeah, the way they did that was kind of cool too because they took footage and did like the weird CGI thing where they're like uh, replacing
Yeah.
like liveries
Yep.
on cars with like what they actually needed for the scene,
Yeah.
which that I thought was actually really interesting. Because I can't think of another situation where they've done stuff like that before in terms of like using real race cars like
Yeah.
that. Um, but um, I mean, regardless, I thought the action, like the actual racing, was very very well done.
Yeah.
But I do understand why they made the decisions that they did for like the race scenes
Right.
and like even like with the damage
Yeah.
stuff. Like the let's say um, the optimistic bending of the rules a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. 100%.
Because if you watch an F1 race, it's usually not, it's eventful, but not that eventful.
Hmm.
Like positions will change, like, but there's usually not a whole lot of like crashes or anything.
Is it kind of like golf, like watching golf? Like,
I mean, yeah, you could probably draw a parallel to that. Like, I mean, like you watch golf and you don't really watch it for two people getting into a fist fight.
yeah.
That's why you watch hockey.
Yeah.
It would be kind of like golf is to hockey what F1 is to NASCAR.
Sure. Sure.
I think would be a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, different sports.
Well, yeah.
So
But but you're right though. With it being a sports movie, I think it works on that level because you're right. You have very much the Top Gun Maverick effect and also the sports effect of, we need an aging, fella to come in and coach the team and bring them back up and whatnot. So from an entertainment value, it's great because, it looks great. It sounds great. Like you said, they spliced in real racing with, whatever
hmm
controlled environments they were working in. But I don't I'm kind of surprised to hear that you didn't think it was like entirely that authentic because like I mean I thought of I was watching and I was like that looks like F1 but
yeah, I don't know. Like my opinion might change later the more that I actually watch actual F1. Because
yeah
generally, I'm actually technically I'm a relatively new fan.
yeah
Because 23, because like the movie F1 is based upon like a fictional 2023 season,
okay
and that's when I started like watching F1.
okay
Um, I guess I didn't really have anywhere I was going with that.
it's,
That was
it's
more like,
it's okay it's all right but I didn't even know that about the movie either I didn't know it was based off of a a fictional retelling of a season
yeah, yeah, which is kind of interesting. That it's also weird. That's also kind of weird too, because like if like in like 5-10 years, if people rewatch the movie, people probably aren't gonna care all that much that they have like cameos from a lot of the other drivers during that season
yeah
because they don't really provide a whole lot to the actual story.
hmm
Um, it, I think it could have been better if they didn't hit on that too much, but at the same time, the story you're telling is like, fictional, but still kind of sort of grounded in reality. So you kind of do have to do something creative with a lot of the racing scenes,
hmm
when you're like fighting for a position. So like I understand why they made the decisions that they made. It just I don't think it's gonna provide as much I don't think it's gonna add as much to the movie as
sure
like the directors like thought it would.
yeah
Especially like if you watch it in like a couple years.
But you think it represented the sport of F1 pretty good though? Because like for myself, like watching after I watched the movie, like that's the most I've ever been interested in F1 in my entire life.
I think it represented the sport well. I don't, but with the caveat of not, there's a lot of stuff that probably isn't all that realistic.
Okay.
But people that are watching the F1 movie are probably not. It's probably going to be people that don't know too terribly much about F1.
Right? Like
So in terms
myself.
of like hyping up people for the sport, I think it does a great job of that.
Yeah.
Because there are bits and pieces where it's like, oh yeah, that's actually kind of like that actually makes sense, you know, because there's like a lot of time with like development of like car and that type of thing, and
Yep.
some weird stuff with like parts regulations. Like that's totally a thing,
Yeah.
you know. Um, Up until like I know a lot of people were like a criticism that people had about like it's like you're telling me that this team created one magical silver bullet of a part, and then now suddenly they're like
Right.
competitive. It's like, well, yeah, that happened with McLaren like a year and a half ago.
Okay, see, I didn't know that because like when I was watching the movie and they bring into that engineering aspect of it, I was kind of like, "Psh, come on. I was
Yeah,
like, really? But now you just told me that that's actually based on a real thing.
yeah. I don't know if that was like intentional or not. But yeah, like that totally was a thing because I started watching F1 in 23 when McLaren was really not competitive.
Yeah.
So I can say that I was a fan before they got good.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm not a bandwagon.
Yeah. Been a fan since day one.
Yeah.
Right on. So, uh, speaking of sports, speaking of niche sports that
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with, another thing that you're into that I have virtually no experience with is this world of competitive shooting.
Yes.
What I find really interesting is that when you said that to me that you were into that as well, I was like, of course. I was like, of course, that's another aspect of shooting. But for myself, I don't think people normally think of the competitive side of shooting when it comes to like firearms. Because I think if you said to someone, "Hey, what kind of environment would you fire a weapon?" They'd probably start off by saying war,
Hmm.
and then they'd probably say, "Okay, what's next? Hunting."
Hmm.
And then they might honestly say video games next. And then you go a little further down the list, and then you might say, "Well, you can also shoot competitive. You can shoot for the sport of that too." And
Hmm.
so for me, that's not something I really associate with weapon handling and with
Hmm.
proficiency. But to have you be someone who has that experience, in the same way you took me in the audience to school on F1,
Hmm.
take us to school on competitive shooting and like how you got into it, what makes it interesting. Just yeah, let's just start off with there.
Yeah. I guess how I got into it. Um, Honestly, I first realized that it was a thing in 2020.
Hmm.
Because I mean, like in 2020, I was still working with Chi Alpha full time,
Okay.
and like during when everything just kind of stopped
Yeah, it was prime
brewing.
COVID.
Yeah, when everything just kind of like stopped for like a couple weeks, and I really didn't have anything to do, but I ended up finding a channel called T Rex Arms,
Yeah.
and he's not with the company anymore. But Lucas Botkin was posting videos where he was doing like competitive shooting type stages at a range, but he had like a GoPro like on his hat.
Okay.
So it was the title of the video was Modern Warfare Gunfight IRL,
Okay.
and it was shot actually really interestingly because you have like like the first person perspective coming from like the GoPro,
Yeah.
but then he's like holding like actual like firearms,
Right.
so he's going through like a course of fire that's like comparable to like what you would do in like a competitive shooting match, but he kind of structured things and chose firearms that were in Modern Warfare 2019
Okay.
as kind of like a draw to get people into like firearms,
Yeah.
And I watched it, I'm like, dang, that's actually super sick.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
who is this guy? You know?
Well, yeah, because like if you do something in a game or if you see something in a movie, you're gonna want to imitate it like as best as you can.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted a Camaro after we saw Transformers the movie.
Yeah.
Like we all
Yep.
we all wanted one, even when we were like 12, 13 years old and whatnot. And so yeah, you play Call of Duty, and it's like I would love to try to emulate that the best I can. So like what is like competitive shooting? Is it like you shoot at targets? Does it involve movement and obstacle courses? Does it involve different calibers? Like
Yeah.
what?
It really depends on what kind of competitive shooting that you're doing.
Okay.
Because here in the middle of nowhere, in the Midwest,
Yep.
um, a lot of people, when you say competitive shooting, it's like PRS, like precision rifle type stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the most common that people think of up here, simply because, I mean, like everyone here is a hunter.
Yep. Very
Everyone,
much a hunting environment that we're in.
yeah. Um, so generally speaking, people are using like bolt actions, and
Hmm.
they're taking 30 minutes to put 5 bullets downrange to be as
Sure.
accurate as possible. It's
Sure.
like that's cool and great, and that does take like a significant amount of skill to do.
Yeah.
Um, Personally, that's not something that I personally gravitate to.
Sure.
Um, so when I started learning about like different shooting disciplines that are kind of in the realm of practical shooting, like there's like a bunch of different ones that kind of like have different rule sets that are kind of skewed a couple different ways. Like you have like IPSEC, IDPA. Um, but the one that I've been competing in is USPSA. So that's United States Practical Shooting Association.
Okay.
Um, and I guess for the too lazy didn't read abridged version of it is
Sure.
basically like if anyone has seen John Wick,
Yep.
it is the style of competitive shooting that inspired the combat for those movies,
Okay.
where it's very uh, grab a handgun and go fast.
Yeah,
Is like meow.
he's very much on the move, almost never stationary.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of the courses for practical shooting is and well, I should go back a little bit because it's called practical shooting for a reason and not precision shooting.
Okay.
Because when it comes to like PRS, like precision rifle shooting, you're graded on like how close you get to the bullseye,
Okay.
and you have all the time in the world. Well, not all the time in the world, but you have a lot of time to actually make very very accurate shots.
Hmm.
With practical shooting, it's not about it's not about solely it's not solely about accuracy. It's about being fast and accurate.
Okay.
So there's a bit more of an emphasis on speed. So the targets aren't really bullseyes. They're basically cardboard silhouettes, which basically like the ones on the wall over
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah,
Just
I
like
see him now.
yeah, just like scaled up to like a more like human size.
Yep.
Those are simulated to be like 15-yard targets
Sure.
for dry fire. But as you can see, you have the little rectangle in the middle. That's an A zone for alphas. The zone on the outside of that is Charlie,
Hmm.
the Charlie zone, C
Yep.
zone, and then the black is D for Delta.
Gotcha.
So where you hit determines how many points you get. So alphas are 5 points, Charlies are 3, deltas are 2, or
Okay.
excuse me, deltas are 1. Excuse
Okay.
me. And the way that you're scored is by generally speaking, it's like hit factor.
Okay.
So it's like points per second. So you can go really, really fast and get C zone hits and still finish with a competitive time.
Right.
Generally speaking, alphas are better,
Hmm.
but generally speaking, you care more about being quick and efficient with putting shots on target, not about putting 5 rounds in a bullseye.
Mm.
Because again, it's not precision shooting; it's practical shooting.
Right.
So the way courses are set up is you'll have like a bunch of like of those targets like kind of scattered throughout like a range,
Yeah.
and you'll have like markers on the ground of where you can actually stand and shoot from, and there'll be barricades that you have to shoot around or through or on top of. And it's kind of up to you to figure out the most efficient way to get through the course. So
Gotcha.
maybe, you know,
Okay, so we are going to continue where we left off from. We had some technical difficulties, but as I said off the top of the podcast, I'm working with new equipment, so it seems to be expected that there would be some hiccups, but I wish I could have got this all figured out prior to you coming on. But anyway,
no worries.
we are back, kids. But anyway, going on with what you were talking about, Dakota, you were talking about how moving through an obstacle course with competitive shooting you kind of have your decision-making process that each individual person can make when it comes to hitting the targets. If you could just keep talking about that.
Yeah, because it's really on to you to decide how you want to actually go through the course of fire. There really isn't like a set way to go about doing it. It's kind of up to you to just decide what the best method to do it is, which is kind of nice because you do have the freedom to like trial and error, like for yourself in a lot of cases. And it's really honestly beneficial if you're not going first because you can kind of let other people, do a couple different. You can watch people go through with a couple different strategies for actually getting through the course. Because I remember one of the courses, like the last time that I competed, which was also my first time, which was very very fun. There was a course where it was the course that I scored the best on. So I did actually get a time that would have considered to be a B class time, which felt very good. But the way that it was set up is there was a couple. What the course was called Whiteback Turtle, which is very funny.
Okay.
Because there's targets that basically steel targets, you hit them once to knock them over. And for cardboard targets, you have to put 2 shots on target. And occasionally there will be targets that are backwards that are all white, and those are basically like no shoots. So they'll be arranged in certain ways to make it more difficult for you to hit the target you're supposed to. And the way that the course of fire was set up is that there was a window that you had to like bump with the muzzle of your gun to open it, and then put shots on targets through it. There are some targets over to the left of that barricade and a little bit to the right near the center of the course. But one of the steel targets was interesting because the second that you put a shot on it and it knocks over, it starts a moving target on the right side of the course.
Okay.
Where it would pop up behind cover and then it would go back behind cover.
Okay.
It was like super, super quick. So what I ended up doing was that I shot that target first to start it moving. And then I dealt with like the rest of the course to the left. And I slowly made my way to the right. I did a reload about halfway through. And then by the time I got to like the moving target, it was moving slow enough where I was like, okay, I can actually hit that.
Yeah.
And that felt really good because I didn't hit any no shoots.
Okay.
And I got both shots on target. I was like, yes, let's go.
That's great. So I find it interesting that one of the ways you described this part of the sport, this activity that you do, is that you described it as practical shooting.
Yeah.
What would you define or describe as practical shooting?
Practical shooting is probably best described as shooting that uses all of the skills for manipulating a firearm at once.
Okay.
Like in the same course of fire, I think is probably the best way to put it. Because you could also describe it as like, the manner in which you're most realistically going to be using a firearm.
Okay.
Precision shooting is cool, if you're doing bolt action, but outside of hunting, I don't think you're probably going to use that a whole lot in a practical sense. Of
Right.
like, if it's home defense, if you're shooting someone that's like, 700 yards away, there's probably bigger problems going on, that
Right.
we actually are going to have to take a shot like that. But when it comes to like the vast majority of people that are going to be using the firearms in like a self-defense setting or like a home defense setting, you're probably going to be shooting like 15 yards and in maybe. Maybe longer if you have a house with like really long hallways, but if you're going to be owning a firearm, you should also be well trained to actually, shoot well so that you don't miss your shots.
Right.
And also be very comfortable with handling the firearm under, all sorts of different circumstances, but also while under duress.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to go to the range and, go plinking with the boys, shoot some steel, just have a good time. But it's entirely different when you're on a time frame. And like, that buzzer goes off and it's like, you are racing against the clock. You have to go fast and you
Right.
have to get your shots.
Yep.
So what do you do when, your breathing starts to like get elevated? You're sprinting to from one target to the other, Are you
Yeah.
able to actually manage your heart rate and your breathing to where you can actually get accurate shots under pressure?
Right.
Most people don't really train to that kind of a standard. It's usually like a fun hobby that you do the range maybe once every couple months. And it's like, yeah, I mean, fair. I mean, guns are fun.
Guns are fun.
I have guns that are not practical,
Yep.
but they are cool,
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not really enough to buy guns because I meet a lot of people that are like, firearms are their hobby. It's like, well, you don't go to the range hardly ever. Guns aren't your hobby. Buying things is your hobby.
Sure.
You know, so people that buy guns aren't necessarily shooters. They don't have skill, which is why I think it's way more useful to buy one gun, maybe a secondary, and then just get really, really good at shooting and like really develop those skills. Because you can't really like shortcut getting good with good equipment.
Yeah.
Good equipment can complement skill. But really, like a lot of the work and a lot of the cost of being a gun owner and a shooter should probably go into ammo.
Yeah.
But practical shooting.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of speaking my language here because, like, I'm very new to the world of guns and gun culture, and even just gun proficiency. I still, need a healthy amount of training. We all need to train, but like, I feel there are a few things I need to really kind of get down. But I've more recently gotten into hunting specifically in the last couple of years. I got an AR-15.
Nice.
It's a BC-15. That's from a Battle Creek Armory, I believe. So it's their version of an AR-15. But
Okay,
but
yeah.
for all intents and purposes, it's just an AR-15. But it happens to be BC
Yep.
because it was made by these guys specifically.
Yeah.
I think they're out in North Carolina, but
Sick.
anyway, semantics. For me though, the idea of having a rifle was kind of always the definition of a want versus a need when it came to me and getting firearms, because much like you, like I'm like, yeah, like okay, I plan to go hunting, but like I'm only gonna hunt a few times out of the year. Whereas a situation that requires me to be armed could come up at any time in the year. And so like,
Yeah.
and I'm also kind of in the trappings that you have with or that you described with purchasing, because for myself at least, the world of firearms has been like the world of tattoos. I don't have any tattoos, but like people I know that have them have said like, oh, once you get one, you're gonna want to get a second one immediately, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna want to get three more. And it's for me, that's so true. Because after I got my AR-15, I went out and I bought binoculars, I bought headphones, I bought
Nice.
extra magazines, I bought
Yep.
ammunition, I bought the winter gear. I went hog wild because I was like, this is my new thing. I was like, I can't believe it. Then my first ever gun that I owned, that I purchased, was a 22 pistol. I'm
Nice.
a very proud owner of that thing. I know it's not incredibly effective and whatnot, but for me, it was the perfect thing that I needed to get introduced to weapons. But again, as I just said, people have chided me for it, saying it's not practical. Granted, a gun is a gun, but like
Yeah.
sometimes a 22 won't even punch through a winter jacket. And so I went, you know what? You're right. And so I went out and I got another pistol, and I
Nice.
got this Gucci Hellcat with a red dot on it and everything like that. And I realized, this is a great pistol. A little too big for all around carry. I think this is going to be my go-to home weapon. So it's on my nightstand. And as I said, the 22, again, good old trusty. A gun's a gun's, a bullet's a bullet, but not super duper reliable. So I went out and I got another pistol, one of kind of a
Nice.
jack of all
Nice.
trades, which is an LCP Max, little itty bitty thing.
Oh yeah.
That
What the pocket pistol?
pocket pistol,
Yeah.
pocket rocket, as my friends call it. Yeah, and that thing, that's like perfect for what I need. It's small, it's lightweight, and it can still pack a punch. So like, for me, I gravitate more towards pistols because I feel that they're more ergonomic, they're more usable, they're more ready to use versus
Hmm.
a rifle, then unless you just keep it in pristine working condition with a magazine right there and the whole bit, yeah, I don't know what you'd really use it outside of like hunting or competitive shooting. So for
Hmm.
me, you saying that you're kind of one of the foundations of what you do for shooting is practical shooting. I'm like
Yeah.
that for me is a big plus for that.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat where like I have a couple different guns, you know, because I don't have buyer's remorse for anything that I have purchased
Yeah,
because I've like I'm like like I'm like stupidly practical with my purchases,
sure.
you know, because I mean a lot of the stuff that I actually objectively want is like 3 4 grand, and I'm like that's not gonna happen
Right.
like anytime soon. Because realistically, like if I had to like shrink down my entire arsenal to just two handguns,
Hmm.
I would pick my 16-inch AR-15, my Bravo Company rifle, and my Glock 43X. And
Nice.
that's specifically because I can actually conceal carry my 43X. I have a Glock 47 that I use for competition, but I'm gonna be honest, I am not a large dude,
Right.
so
Neither am I.
I can't conceal that very well.
Yep.
And 16-inch AR-15 is like one of the most jack of all trade guns that you can buy.
Yep.
And like frankly, when it comes to like home defense, I still think that like an AR-15 is just like the best decision
Yeah.
out of other firearms. Like pistols are more like, or I would argue, are more like I don't know, personal defense. Whereas like if you're trying to defend like your home, AR-15 is way better. Rifle cartridges are just better than pistol
See,
cartridges.
I want to push back on that slightly. This is the
Okay,
beauty of
all
the
right,
podcast because like
okay,
these are the
yeah, yeah.
discussions I want to have.
Let's
Because
discuss.
like I like my AR-15 a lot.
Hmm.
I really do. I think it's great. But like for me, a big part of it, and I'm not a big guy, either. For me, a huge part of it
Hmm.
is that weight.
Yeah.
Like having to shoulder it, and like I'm not as maneuverable with it as I would be a pistol. And like I don't know about you, but for me, I love going, to ranges and shooting and whatnot. But after a while of just dumping
Hmm.
rounds downrange, I get tired of holding that rifle.
Yeah.
But so for me, putting more time into pistols, I feel I can do that more reliably because of the weights, because of the actual size and whatnot. And so for me, what my personal defense system would be is probably some kind of pistol for my home.
Hmm.
Because again, I have my Hellcat right on my 9 mil Hellcat right on my nightstand. Um, but yeah, an AR-15. I mean, they're great, uh, but I don't know. For me, I think I gravitate more towards a pistol or even a shotgun because I live in a pretty small space or a
Hmm.
small place, and so like if I just put my shotgun aimed at the door and they come through the door,
Hmm.
even if I partially miss, they're still gonna get to get some of that shot on them. So yeah, just for me, I'm very much more pro pistol when it comes to defense. I'd say.
And like that, like the comfortability like argument, like I do think is like a reasonable point, you know? Because I mean,
Hmm.
at the end of the day, like if you can't hit anything, like I mean, like that's kind of a problem.
Well, I'm a terrible shot with everything,
Because generally speaking, like
but less so with pistols because I have more experience.
that is true.
Yeah,
Because like you are gonna like be the most accurate with like whatever platform that you are using regularly, but
yeah,
with I guess I'll just okay. Well, I guess we'll do. I'll explain my reasoning with like the AR-15 over a pistol first,
yeah.
because
Break it
like
down.
you've actually like I think spent like most amount of time with like handguns and stuff. So
Mostly, yeah.
yeah, because like so with handguns, they are the in my experience they are de facto like the hardest gun to shoot.
Really.
And the specific reasoning for that is because the amount of contact points that you have on the gun when you're shooting it. Because when you have a handgun, you're making contact on the gun with your right hand and your left hand,
Hmm.
and that's it. But like when you're holding it, there's all these different directions that the gun can point. You know, like
Sure.
you're it's able to kind of move kind of willy nilly. So you have to like practice and get really good of like managing the recoil.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to An AR-15, if you're able to shoot a handgun really well, you'll be able to shoot an AR-15 really well too.
Mm-hmm.
But the inverse is not true. Because with an AR-15, you have two more points of contact. You have, that you're gripping the grip with your right. Well, I mean, if you're a righty, not a wrongy, but like,
Yep.
if you're gripping it, you're gripping, the grip with your right hand. You are gripping the handguard with your left hand. You're putting the stock into your shoulder. That's 3.
Yep.
And then you're putting your cheek on the stock too, looking down the sight. So that's 4.
Yep.
It's a lot easier to manage recoil with an AR-15 because of that, as compared to a handgun, simply because you have more points of contact. And if you're managing your recoil properly of pulling the gun into your shoulder and pushing down with your left arm, the rifle's not going to really move a whole lot, and you're able to be a lot faster with follow-up shots. And when it comes to stopping power, an AR-15, like the 5.56 cartridge, carries way more force than a pistol.
100%.
Because generally speaking, a pistol will punch holes in people, and then a rifle will punch holes through people. With shotguns, they are like dummy reliable, especially if you're using a pump action.
Yep.
Like,
I have a Churchill 20 gauge pump.
oh, dude, that's nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
So like shotguns are like a useful tool, like 100%. But when it comes to home defense, I don't think it's necessarily the best option. Because I'm gonna address this in terms of like 12 gauge, not 20 gauge.
Sure.
So just disclaimer.
Yeah.
If you're using it like a home defense load, like double-aught buck, that hits pretty hard, and it does carry a lot of recoil. If you're using a pump shotgun, all that recoil is just going directly into your shoulder. And then after the fact, you have to worry about pumping the shotgun so that you can put another round down range. But if you're in like a life or death situation where you might actually have to take someone's life, that is an extra step that you have to worry about.
True.
When you're like under stress.
Yeah.
So in terms of using a shotgun for home defense, I think a semi-auto is like a way better choice. But at the same time, you don't have a lot of capacity either. You only have maybe 6 or 7 rounds.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're using an AR-15, a standard magazine is 30 rounds, which is going to be more than enough for most home intruder
You can
situations.
destroy your target with that.
Yeah. And with shotguns as home defense weapons too, especially when you start to have like a family or roommates, I don't think a shotgun is a smart option in that situation, specifically because it's like, yes, like, you do have to aim a shotgun. You know, please don't blind fire in your home or just anywhere at all. Like, actually aim down the sights. But with shotgun, I mean, like it fires a spray pattern. With a bunch of different BBs. So if you're in a situation where somehow, like, an intruder's holding one of your kids hostage, are you really going to shoot the intruder's head, or are you going to accidentally smoke your kid too?
No, it's a correct assessment.
So in that regard, like an AR-15 with just a red dot is going to be far superior. And I would take that over a handgun because even with my 43X, like, I can shoot it reasonably well. I can shoot my 47 way better, which is a full-size handgun. I am way more accurate with a rifle, though. Now, granted, like, there is that, debate on, like, use whatever you're comfortable with, whether it be like a handgun or like an AR-15. I think there's like a pretty reasonable argument too for pistol caliber carbines. So something that's chambered in like a 9mm, but like, smaller, but still has like this, like the brace, so you can like pull it into your shoulder. So like a CZ Scorpion, I really want one because they're neat. And frankly, they're way lighter and easier to shoot than an AR-15. But so like if you are in a situation where like an AR-15 is just too heavy, I think that it's a very good option too. But I'm also in the camp too of like, just lift more weights. Just go to the gym and get swole.
Well, there's absolutely that factor too of, if you're someone, like me who's like, I like my AR-15, but after a while I get tired of it, or get tired with it. I just got to lift more,
Well, like I'm the same way too though, cuz like if I'm going to the range and like, I'm bringing like my main like AR-15, like I'm going to train with this, I'm going to do stuff with it, um, if you're aiming down sights for a long period of time, like your arms do get tired,
Yeah.
especially like like in your delts,
Yep.
because it's like you're aiming down sights, but like this whole arm, this
Yeah.
arm right here, like there's a lot of leverage going straight into your shoulder.
Yep.
So like you are just gonna get tired naturally because that's not a natural position for your arm to be in.
Right.
You know, because like lighter AR-15s, I mean, lighter guns are just like they're just easier to deal with.
Yeah.
But like there is the whole debate of like if you want your gun to have more capability, you're gonna have to carry the weight,
Right.
But yeah, moral of the story: buy a gun and just get good with it.
Pretty much.
I do think that there's smarter choices in certain situations than others, but um, if you had to restrict like firearms to like two purchases, I would say buy a handgun that you can conceal carry and buy an AR-15.
Yeah.
Just get good with those. Just get really good.
It's pretty much that. Pretty much is kind of the Swiss Army knife of the firearm world, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because like I like my shotgun, but you're right. Like as much as I like it, I understand like the functionality of it. It's pretty limited. There's
Yeah.
even conversations I see happening of like, should the shotgun be essentially like phased out? Like,
Actually, no. I
okay,
don't think it should.
okay,
Because the two reasons because shotguns are still used in modern combat, but as breaching tools.
yes,
So you do have like breaching rounds and that type of thing because it ends up being more like I guess a multi tool in that regard.
yep,
But this is also another fact that I find kind of funny because I like shooting. I like competitive shooting. I don't really like skeet shooting that much, if I'm
skeet
being
shooting.
honest. Like or like I don't know what's the competitive shooting. Is it just skeet shooting?
Well, I know what it is. You're talking about the thing that launches the clay discs and then pull
Yeah,
and then bam.
there's a more better phrase to describe that kind of shooting. I can't remember what it is.
I'm not
Trap shooting. There we
Oh,
go.
trap shooting. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think trap shooting is goofy, and I don't see a lot of practical purpose behind it outside of bird hunting, except the past couple years in the war of Ukraine has suddenly made trap shooting incredibly relevant in the
Sure.
world of modern day
I
combat because anti-drone
yeah, I see.
operations is like totally a thing
I
now.
see the bridge you're making.
Yeah,
Let's walk across this now.
yeah. So it's like you have like a lot. I know this is how this is going to sound, but one of my favorite YouTubers, his name is Chris Cappy. He was an infantryman in the U.S. Army, and now he does a lot of stuff with um, a lot of like modern day observations of like militaries and that type of stuff.
Okay.
In terms of like war in Ukraine and like he'll go over like live combat footage and that type of thing and break it down of like okay, this is what went well, this is what went bad. And a lot of things that he does cover is just like drone warfare, because previously, when we were like growing up, right? It's like drone warfare is like, Call of Duty kill streaks,
Yeah, that was the idea of the future.
like predator drones,
Yep.
And then now you have these little like pocket drones
Yep.
that are like strapped with explosives.
Yep.
And it's like that's insane. But you see like both like, on both sides, Russia and Ukraine,
Yep.
they're just fielding hunting shotguns.
Yeah.
Like 22-inch like hunting shotguns where they're usually like semi-auto to just like dump rounds and to take out, like suicide drones.
Hmm.
Like it's very strange how like that's been just like a staple of modern
Yeah.
warfare. It's like drone warfare in that regard and trench warfare
It's
is
yeah.
back.
By going forward, we also managed to go back at the same time.
It's very strange. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
It is strange, but it's what's crazy is that like with the war in Ukraine being as front and center as it is, like we have all this access to all this material on it. Like
Yeah.
you can find stuff on it via TikTok, YouTube. There's this app called Telegram, which is just like this wild west of the internet where people will post like GoPro footage of trench warfare.
Dude, it's just wild, man.
I mean, like viewer discretion is totally advised with all this stuff
100%.
because
Like,
you can get, I've been exposed to some stuff where I'm like that I just watched a person literally get killed like on camera, but like I've seen lots of videos where yeah, you think of warfare, you think of the constant zipping of bullets and the
Yeah.
explosions and whatnot. But I've seen lots of videos where it's just people walking, and then they hear zoom,
Yeah.
and it's drones going by either in pairs or solos or a swarm, and it's like
It's just wild. Like,
it's crazy.
I mean, 2025 is when Black Ops 2 takes place, so I mean,
That's
they
right.
weren't far off with the
That's right.
predictions,
I
you
know
know.
it's crazy how everything rhymes like that. But yeah, I've never done trap shooting.
Hmm.
I think I'd like to at some point, but I know a lot of my friends that do. But yeah, it is interesting that, you know, I guess by practicing that trap discipline, we're now having it being applied in real combat situations,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But yeah, so like I guess now more than ever, shotgun discipline seems to be kind of relevant. But yeah, like I think prior to the war of Ukraine, I was hearing a lot of slander against shotguns.
Yeah, because like it kind of got restricted to just like a breaching
Like
tool.
you said, yeah, like,
But yeah, now it's like suddenly relevant again, and it's like, huh,
yeah,
that's actually really interesting. So now it's like, Grandpa's, Remington is
yep,
suddenly a incredibly valuable tool in,
yeah.
modern day warfare.
What's your thoughts on the 22 caliber and the slander associated with 22?
Um, I mean, in terms of like in terms of like a self defense gun.
Just overall, because like as I said, my first handgun ever, my first gun period was a 22. I
Uh,
I love that thing. I'm gonna get.
I think it's an incredibly good caliber to like get familiar with firearms and
Yep, that was what I did.
to like get new shooters comfortable with handling firearms because there's like no recoil and like
No,
22 is like it's like the cheapest round
yeah,
known to
it's
man.
it's dirt cheap.
You get like 1,000 rounds for like $20.
Yeah,
Like it's nuts,
crazy.
And uh like I don't know, like if you get something like a Ruger 1022, like you can hunt squirrels with it,
Hmm.
you know? It's a small round that'll kill most like tiny critters.
Yeah,
So, I mean, as a, I don't know if you want to go into like the realm of like, stockpiling, I think it's a great round to stockpile.
yeah. No, I
Um,
think it is. I mean, I have, like you said, I bought a box of 500 right after I
yeah.
got the gun, and I was like, I can get all this, for that
Yeah,
much.
it's a
You know,
cheap bullet
it's a
because I
cheap.
mean, even with like, 9 mil's pretty cheap. You can get it pretty reasonable at like 23 cents a round in some places,
Yeah,
but I mean, 22 is just like it's everywhere, and it's like a caliber that's not going away anytime soon because just of how common that cartridge is and how common the chambering in firearms is for that cartridge.
do you think it has any use and effectiveness outside of being the starter caliber, the get used to the world of firearms? Because like, look, when I was an absolute novice,
Hmm.
like after I had just gotten that pistol, I thought I'm gonna, like you said, I said I'm gonna train with this thing until I'm blue in the face and my fingers fall off, and then I'm gonna carry it with me everywhere. That's gonna be my self-defense weapon. And
Hmm.
as I said, there's debate on if a 22 round could even punch through a jacket. But defenders of it, like myself, will say a gun is better than no gun.
Yeah,
You can
like
you can have that swarm of bees effect where you're
yeah,
just sending rounds,
you're
and
dying under a hail of bees.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, with that 22, that thing is so light, it's so clean and crisp. I have no problem getting rid of jams. I have no problem reloading. Even the way the magazines are designed for I have a M&P Shield, and
Oh,
and
nice.
their magazines come with that thumb pad on the side where you pull down the spring and you can just top it off just really really quick. You
Yep.
don't have to do any kind of pushing or nothing. It's you can hold it with your non-dominant hand, low with the other, and then boom, you're good to go and all that stuff. But yeah, like most people are like, well, I don't want with a 22, I don't want the chance of killing my target. I need something that will kill my target. Here
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
9 mil and 45 ACP and all the others.
yeah. I mean, generally speaking, like if someone's gonna buy, like, hey, I just want to buy, like, someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I just want to buy a handgun and just never buy another one.
Yeah.
I just need one. Um, I would say probably just buy a Glock 19 chambered in 9 mil.
Hmm.
Because the Glock 19 is probably still the best do-it-all gun. The reason why I have a 43X for concealed carry is because I'm not a large person,
Yeah.
you know. Otherwise, I'd be carrying my 19. But in terms of caliber, I'd probably just say like get 9 mil.
Yeah.
If you are unable to if 9 mil, if the recoil is just like a bit too much for you, which it does happen, like if like okay, I don't want to. Okay, I know how this sounds, but like a lot of women will go gravitate towards 380,
No, you're
just
cool.
because like it's just a lighter cartridge
No,
or a lighter recoiling round.
it's a very accurate assessment. In the same way, I described my LCP Max as a pocket rocket.
Yeah,
380 pistols are commonly referred to as purse pistols.
yeah.
You can just throw them in there and they're just pop, pop, pop. You know,
So like like Sarah, like she ended up getting a Smith and Wesson Bodyguard 2.0.
is that right?
Yeah,
It's far out.
I actually kind of like it honestly. Like we haven't had a chance to go to the range yet, but I mean, for this I like the size,
Yeah,
and knowing like I've shot 380 before, so I know it's not going to recoil very hard.
yeah, it's good.
I mean, I also have like just enormous like hands too.
Your
Like
hands
I'm
are.
like I'm like a very skinny dude, but my hands are just enormous meat
Yeah,
mittens.
I'm kind of jealous of your just catcher mitts you have over there.
Dude,
Yeah,
I don't even need a glove when I play
yeah,
baseball.
these are pretty. Yeah,
Yeah.
me, I've got just little gangly things.
So like my hands are a bit big for the handgun, but like for Sarah, like it works great.
Yeah,
Like because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about like how the gun feels in your hand. It's like can you shoot it?
yeah, yeah.
But regardless, I think 380 is like a good cartridge if you just can't quite handle a 9 mil.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't recommend like a 22 to purchase a first gun unless it was specifically to help like ease other people into
Yeah.
like shooting that are maybe like just really scared about firearms,
Yeah.
you know?
And that was me. Not that I was necessarily scared, but my best friend Elijah, shout out him. When I told him I want to get my first handgun, he was like, "Get a 22," and I said, "Okay." And so I did. I went
Yeah,
because he
and
knew that's what I needed to be introduced to it all.
yeah, because like the fundamental skills you learn with whatever firearm, like it translates to pretty much everything,
Yeah.
So, because like really, like I don't have anything chambered in 22 right now, but if I did get one, it'd probably be like a Ruger 1022, like the rifle thing.
Yep.
Simply because there's just an incredible amount of replacement parts for it,
Yeah.
and everyone and their dog makes magazines for it, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I know people who love 22 rifles. I mean, they
I
just
mean they're fun because there's just no recoil.
there's
Like
yeah.
one of my favorite like historical firearms that's like it's so dumb, but like it was developed by the British during World War II. It was this tube gun, which a tube gun is basically like a gun that the barrel is just a tube. Like it doesn't have rifling or anything, so it doesn't spin the bullet or anything. They're very inaccurate, but its sole purpose is to be a bullet hose. So you have this little full auto like SMG with a 60 round drum mag of 22 to just hose somebody.
I mean,
Like it legitimately worked though is the thing.
yeah.
So I'm like accuracy through volume. I can appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I mean, again, like we said, that's the swarm of bees
Yeah.
effect we were talking about. Just
Yeah.
sending 60 rounds at 22 downrange.
In addition to that too, because 22 is such a light round, most pretty much like the caliber is basically natively subsonic. So when you put a suppressor on it, it's whisper quiet.
Yeah,
You barely hear it. Like the cycling of the gun is the loudest thing.
yeah,
So in terms of like again, like dealing with like varmints, like if you're out in the country or whatever,
yeah.
like just no one will hear it.
Do you run suppressed on anything you have?
I don't have a suppressor yet. I want to though.
Me too.
Because I have two AR-15s and one that one of my buddies, I believe, is actually going to buy. But because I have my 16-inch AR-15, that's kind of like my general purpose rifle, and then
Yeah.
I have my 11.5. That's actually my home defense gun,
Yeah,
and I would like to get a suppressor for that. But I just don't have the money for it right now.
I get
Like
it.
I'm trying to build up like my savings again because this last month was kind of expensive.
sure. I get it.
Stuff broke in my car that I had to fix.
We
So
all got bills.
eventually I will get a suppressor. I don't really know when I'm going to pull the trigger on it. Simply, yeah.
Wordplay.
Ah. simply because like there's a lot of stuff with like the big beautiful bill and stuff that
Oh
got
yeah.
passed, because that one's interesting because originally we thought that the Short Act and the Hearing Protection Act were going to be added into that, which basically deregulates short barrel rifles and suppressors from the National Firearms Act. So
Right.
you don't have to, fill out extra paperwork and have it registered with the federal government
Hmm.
or state government, technically, sort of. And what ended up happening is because, like, with the big beautiful bill, everything had to be like a budgeting change. So what they did is that they reduced the tax stamp from $200 to $0.
Okay.
So that is good in the sense of like, you're reducing the cost of like these items, but simultaneously now the NFA is 100% unconstitutional because when it was passed in 1934, it was already like there was already like a lot of hot debate around it. But the reason why it was passed is because it was registered. The items were registered to guarantee that the tax was paid.
Okay.
But technically now, but it was like if the tax wasn't there, it would have been deemed unconstitutional for
Okay.
that reason. So now because the tax on both are gone, there is a very, very, very good legal argument that the NFA is just like unconstitutional in general because it technically already was when it was enacted. Because FDR was a terrible president on multiple levels. If Christian's listening, he knows what's up.
Shout out Christian.
Like, so the actual $0 tax is gonna be in effect in January. So I'm assuming that at that point, that's when a lot of the lawsuits are going to be like pushed through
Okay.
in terms of like dismantling like the NFA in that regard. So like it was like baby steps.
What is the NFA
Oh,
for
sorry,
for
the
those that
National
don't know?
National Firearms Act.
Okay.
Basically, like when it was originally put into place in 1934, it was because everyone was terrified of suppressors because Hollywood in that time frame, gangsters had Tommy guns.
Okay, kids. So we had yet another technological spat going on there. So we're going to pick up where we left off again. And you left off, Dakota, talking about Tommy guns and suppressors and how in 1930s that was a big issue going on.
Yeah, yeah. So like the NFA, the National Firearms Act, was enacted in 1934 because like with a lot of like the gang violence and stuff that was going on
Hmm.
during that time frame, and a lot of it was spawned off like a lot of it was tied to not just like the enacting of the NFA wasn't just tied to gang violence. It was also like how like it was also had to do with like the portrayal of firearms in Hollywood too.
Yeah.
Because like gangsters were always using like Tommy guns, like fully automatic, submachine guns
Yep.
chambered in 45 ACP, but they all had like suppressors on them. Which so a suppressed firearm is not whisper quiet.
Right.
Like, today there are some calibers that are, but not really like during that time period. Like there were some chamberings of like 45 ACP, or I believe they technically had 9 mil subsonic, but they were like really like fancy pantsy like Gucci calibers that
Hmm.
like I mean good luck finding it. So there was some fear of like firearms put into place by Hollywood, and that was used as leverage to get the National Firearms Act passed, which basically required a registration and like a $200 tax stamp to purchase like short barrel rifles, which is just like any gun that has a barrel less than 16 inches,
Okay.
or suppressors.
Okay.
Because naturally, the National Firearms Act regulates something that isn't a firearm.
Hmm.
Because, of course,
Sure.
big brain government move.
Big. Yeah.
Which, I mean, for $200, that is wild because that's $200 in 1934. You know,
Yeah,
like that's
that's
like
a great point.
that's like $1,300 in modern day money, I think,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
that's a
Last time I looked.
quick conversion there, but nicely done.
I looked it up like a couple like weeks ago, and I'm like, that's probably sort of accurate. I don't
Yeah,
know. Inflation's always going up, but
always.
whatever. So basically, the reason why that was allowed to pass, like it was already like super controversial at the time period, but the reason why it was allowed to pass was because even though that the registration was determined unconstitutional, it was deemed okay because it was a tax, not just a registration,
Mm,
because the registration was used as of a justification to determine who actually paid the tax or not.
okay.
But now, in today's day and age, with the tax essentially set to $0, there's absolutely no reason for the NFA to exist, like in any capacity. So a lot of gun rights organizations are just like they are ready. They are chomping at the bit to like, yo, let's get rid of this forever.
Yeah.
It's also like wild that it is taking like 95 some odd years for, you know, a bunch of unconstitutional laws to get
Well,
overturned.
yeah,
But
I mean, like with, so is there a difference between the NFA and the NRA?
yeah, so like the NFA is the National Firearms Act. So that's actually like a policy
Yeah.
that the AT like it's the
Let,
ATF is like in charge of like
yeah,
like
yeah, maybe I should have rephrased that. Like, because like the
oh yeah,
NFA looks, it probably bleeds into the NRA, which then bleeds into the ATF. Is that kind of how that works?
not necessarily. Like so the ATF, like they're the ones that I guess what's the right phrase? I guess maintain like
Okay.
the NFA.
Mhm.
Like they're the ones that actually enforce it.
Yeah.
With the NRA, the National Rifle Association, they're like a I guess you could call them like a gun rights group. I mean, it's the National Rifle Association,
Yeah.
so like they're not really like a government entity, but they've done some weird stuff that isn't necessarily constitutional. Like historically, they've been very pro firearms are for sport and hunting and not for defense.
Interesting.
Generally speaking, that's why like a lot of people have a very critical view towards them
Yeah.
because they've taken very unconstitutional stances in the past, and that's also why a lot of like well, I guess boomers get made fun of because there's a large people group in like 50s and older that are in the camp of like, you know, why do you need an AR-15 for hunting?
Sure.
It's like, well, that's not what it's for. Like the purpose of the Second Amendment is so that we can protect ourselves from enemies, foreign and domestic, including the U.S. government,
Right.
as individuals, as American citizens, which the purpose of the Second Amendment was never for hunting. We can use firearms for hunting, but that's not the intention of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really, I don't think a lot of people want to acknowledge that because it's like, it's uncomfortable, you
Yeah.
know?
It is uncomfortable.
A lot of people would rather live in ignorant bliss.
Yeah.
And anything that kind of challenges like their comfort, they tend to reject it
Yeah.
and pretend it doesn't exist. Like the ostrich solution, stick your head in the sand and you can't see it, so it's
Yeah.
not real.
No, I sympathize with that. 'Cause people don't want their way of life disrupted in any way.
Yeah, which I don't know. I think that's why like a lot of the NRA is the way that it is, and a lot of the other guns rights groups like the Firearm Policy Coalition and Gun Owners of America, I think have done a much better job of
Okay.
fighting for gun rights for Americans. I think they've done a significantly better job.
Yeah.
So,
There's too many groups, in my opinion, because you named off some acronyms that I wasn't even familiar with. But
oh gosh,
yeah.
yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
Like, because like yeah, GOA, Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, a bunch of all the acronyms.
Yeah.
Lots of acronyms and organizations.
What
Because yeah,
we talked about shotguns, and there's two other firearm, groups that I want to get your opinion on. But
Yeah.
let's just keep with AR-15s. That's one of them since we're talking about it right now.
okay,
The AR-15, I don't think has received any more public discourse, like ever. Like that is kind of the poster child for the big
black bad gun, because
Yeah.
that's sadly used in a lot of shootings and a lot of murders and a lot of crime sprees and such. Because it does kind of fit this modular build that we're talking about, to where it's kind of your all-purpose tool. It's easy to use. It's easy to get familiar with, and there have been times just in the last decade where people are saying that we should get rid of the AR-15 altogether. It should be banned. If it's not going to get banned, you have a duty as a citizen to get rid of your AR-15. There's plenty of those videos online of people dismantling them, destroying the pieces and whatnot. Like, yeah, I think when people hear AR-15, they solely associate that with a tool for murder. And I don't think that's correct, but like, yeah, what is your overall thoughts kind of on the rifle and where it stands in the public domain, and what do you think is our responsibility as two proud owners of AR-15s going forward?
Yeah. Well, as proud owners of AR-15s, take people to the range.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably one of the best solutions, because even like when people are talking about like mass shootings and that type of stuff, like AR-15s don't really account for a whole lot of them. Like it's primarily handguns, more than anything, because they're easy to conceal, and they're like way cheaper. Like you can get like, I mean, like Springfield Hellcats are like what, like $400?
I got mine for less than that.
Yeah, so I mean, like you can buy a bunch of like handguns for like not a lot of money.
Yeah.
Same with bullets and that type of thing.
Yep.
Like most of the shootings are done like with handguns, not AR-15s, which is why I always find it really interesting that politicians call for a ban on assault weapons every time a handgun is used for a mass shooting, which is why I do not believe that they actually think that what they're doing is going to fix problems. It's purely to disarm the American citizen.
Well, that's another huge portion of it, is that there's the saying, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's and there are restrictions that have been more implemented on us, in the wake of everything that's happened, and all that. Do you think that some restrictions are warranted, or do you think there needs to be some kind of checks and balances, or really should it be more of the Wild West, so to speak, when it comes to firearms?
Honestly, I'm pretty like extreme on this, because I actually don't think that um, I'm leaning more towards Wild West, and here's why. Um, like generally speaking, like if I remember correctly, if my memory serves, the background check system was enacted in, I believe it was 1963. I think it might have been 64.
I'm trusting your judgment on this one.
Prior to that, that was like a very wild thing to do, because that was never something that was like ever needed. Because culturally, it was like the idea of a mass shooter was like inconceivable,
Yeah.
right? Although, like, part of me thinks that the reason why a lot of mass shooters started happening in the '60s was because of like projects like MK Ultra and that type of thing.
Oh,
And
wow, you're really getting
if
into
if
the
we
weeds
really
here.
want to go down those
Yeah.
conspiracy theories, like I have some suspicions about that, but purely the conceptually, the entire concept of a background check is you are guilty until proven innocent, which is a very unconstitutional, it's a very unconstitutional concept.
Right.
And generally speaking, even before like the background check system was put into place, like business owners could just like choose to not sell you a gun. They could just say no. And you can still do that in today's day and age, even with like the background check system. And even so, with a lot of like the restrictions that are put into place, they don't affect a criminal's capability of acquiring a firearm.
Well,
It affects the law-abiding citizens and their ability to acquire a firearm. And in addition to that, too, with 3D printing and things like that, like
yeah, we're in a
there-
whole new world now.
yeah, like the restrictions matter even less.
Yeah.
And like it's just not going to be a thing that you're going to be able to regulate. And as more quality 3D printers become lower in price, I think that it's just not. There's going to be a threshold where it just like does not matter anymore, because what at one of my because like in the state that we currently live in, it's legal to manufacture your own firearms if you don't sell them. That you need an FFL. Just to clarify, this is not legal advice, but state.
No, I understand.
Because in the state of where we live,
I mean, we could say it. It's
okay,
fine. It's North Dakota.
in the state of North Dakota, it is legal to manufacture your own firearms if they don't leave the state.
I did not know that.
Because then if you leave the state, then it's like you're subjective to like that state's laws
Oh,
of
sure,
manufacturing
sure.
firearms. It's kind of like how concealed carry works and that type of thing, but whatever. So like a buddy of mine, like he has 3D printed his own Glock grips, like the lower
Yep.
assembly for a Glock, and he's been able to make a fully functioning firearm out of that by just buying parts. Reasonably reliable. Granted, it's not coming from the Glock OEM factory itself, but
The Glock OEM factory.
yes, that's a little redundant there, but
Yep.
so it's like it's entirely possible. Culturally, I think if we just randomly got rid of background checks, I don't know if I think that might be a little bit too big of a shock to society as a whole. Granted, I could be wrong on that because I would argue that it is best to slowly release
Yeah.
the restrictions on firearm ownership until like there really just isn't any anymore, and we're basically in 1776 style of like regulations, which is like basically nothing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the problems that I see today in terms of people being anti-gun is purely a matter of like education. A lot of people are just ignorant, and a lot of what's been communicated to them is from legacy media like CNN, ABC, MSNBC, and I kind of put Fox News in there to an extent, but I will say that I do give them credit for having people on like Colion Navarre, who's actually like really excellent. I like him a lot. But because like Fox News is just like legacy media, I'm a little sus, But the vast majority of people I know that don't like firearms, they all just watch like CNN, and I'm like, CNN is the biggest reason why I don't trust anything legacy media says, because they have lied to the American people for decades about firearms to a point where it's just like it's absolutely insulting.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, you have this really weird like it's this really weird level of like oh gosh, what's a good phrase to put it? It's
What, paranoia?
not paranoia, but people are uneducated to the point it's like frightening.
Well, it's
Like that's probably the best phrase I could probably come up with it, because so much of it is just read statistics. It takes you like 5 minutes to get a lot of fact check a lot of what's on media, but people don't really do that.
Well, that's part of the whole reason why I even asked the question about AR-15s to begin with, because I said they're so publicized with everything that's going on with them in terms of mass shootings and whatnot, only because that's what's highlighted in the reports and in the news feeds and such. And then you correctly, counter that by saying, no, the majority is handgun. But
I mean, that's not even like a crazy like no one knows, it's super secret hush hush statistic. I mean, it takes like 5 minutes, maybe less than 5 minutes to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's unfortunate, but I think a lot of the problems is just like education.
Yeah. No, you're incredibly right, because if education is important for everything when it comes to firearms. When it comes to actually shooting, you need the discipline. When it comes to keeping a weapon maintained, you need that discipline. When it comes to understanding ownership, the culture, the responsibility, you need to actually do it. You can't just read up on it. You have to do it. You have to put it into practice. And like what's interesting is I said, should we have regulations or should it be more like the Wild West? Well, what's ironic is that everyone likes to think back on the Wild West as, shootouts in dirty streets and, blowing up the the
Yeah.
saloons and whatnot. But if you actually, I hate to burst this bubble, but I've done this research. If you actually go back and you look at when the Wild West actually was, there really wasn't a whole lot of just persistent violence. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't just these random gunfights happening everywhere in the streets. The reason why is because everyone was armed. And so
Yeah.
it's like, are you really going to pick a fight with someone who you know also has a weapon? No. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
and
It's
so
exactly that.
like, yeah, like I think part of the reason why people feel so unsafe is just because there's not that education or that practical aspect of literally being with a weapon, owning one, maintaining it, learning it, like yeah, I think that there's beyond just large scale reform that we need with policies and with these agencies, and all that stuff. I think that there's a lot of ownership and a lot of agency that goes onto the individual to do their homework and to do their research and to be responsible themselves. And it stinks that it took me this long to do that. I'm now in my late 20s and I started maybe in my mid 20s, but like,
I mean, that's about like when I started really getting into firearms too.
yeah.
I mean, that was like 5 years ago. So I was like 25. So I mean, like,
Forget you're older than me every time.
yeah, you know, my, my my back cracks when I sit down,
Yeah.
like just crunch.
You look younger than me, yet you're older than me, which
Yeah, I think I've hit that threshold where people aren't assuming I'm in high school anymore. So that's
I wouldn't
that's
go
encouraging.
that young.
If I'm clean shaven, I look pretty young.
Yeah.
It's just I don't have acne, so people, I think they assume that I'm like just starting college
Yeah,
now.
no, I get it. I get it.
So
But yeah, it's when I was growing up, I'd hear these stories of people who, you'd have these quote gun advocates, the people who post, online, who seem to have thousands of weapons and they're constantly doing reviews and doing testing and whatnot. And they said, they'll say stuff like, well, I gave my kid my his first handgun when he was 8 years old, or something like
Yeah.
that. And growing up, I was like, that's crazy, because when I was 8 years old, I was trying to figure out, if Han Solo could take on, Boba Fett, like, like in
Yeah.
a fisticuff brawl. I mean, that's what I was preoccupied with. The idea of me being handed a loaded weapon that could hurt someone else or myself at that age, to me was just, it wasn't even in my entire wheelhouse, But again, now, being the man that I am and, wanting kids of my own, Lord willing, I do intend to start them off on that discipline young. I don't know how young that will be, but like I see the value in teaching that from an early age, the same way you would teach someone how to swim from an early age.
Yeah.
By the way, for myself, I didn't learn to swim until I was 17. So
but you did get around to it.
I did get around to it. So now if I fall off a boat into a body of water, I will live.
That's good.
But yeah, with swimming, start from an early age. Driving, start from an early age. And firearms, I feel, should also be from an early age as well, just to, again, get these principles down that are lost. And now, because they're lost, we're enduring all these consequences. And hope springs eternal, but it's frustrating, to say the least.
Because I guess kind of referencing with what you're talking about of like how young is too young to start learning about firearms. Like, I think the earliest that I remember shooting a gun was like 5. My dad was very intentional about like, this is how you safely handle a gun. Granted, I didn't understand all the implications of like a firearm when I was like 5, but I also wasn't like just given a gun and just like, all right, there's a range, go over there and shoot the thing.
Yep.
It's like, no, my dad was like there. Because I mean, like, when you're 5, you're like, what, like 2.5 feet tall, So it's like you're short, It's like, so like, I mean, like as like my dad was there, like helping me, like, okay, this is like how you do X, Y, and Z. Now the gun is ready, and pull the trigger, and he's like encasing me,
Yeah.
with like he's like behind me, holding me steady, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's really just responsible parenting, and yeah,
Yeah, I think it gets boiled down to just that. Of course, parenting is in its own, bag of weeds there too, because
Yeah.
it's like, what's right, what's not. There's some stuff that's up for debate. There's some stuff that I feel is not, but it's yeah, that's a whole other thing too. I want to scale this back a little bit, but keeping it with firearms still, because again, we talked about shotguns and
Yeah, yeah.
AR-15s. Another weapon system that I want to get your feedback on. What's your thoughts on revolvers?
I think they're neat.
Me too.
Like I don't. I'm probably not going to carry one, but I do think that they're really cool, and
Yeah.
it's like it's a vibe. You
It
know,
is a vibe.
because it's like very American.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
because it's like the cowboy's gun.
Yeah.
You know, like revolvers and like lever actions. Like
Oh, I love a good lever action.
I would love to own one, either one, honestly. But practically, I don't think it's wise for me to invest money in that right now.
Yeah.
But for a self-defense gun, like if you're going to carry something, probably not going to use a revolver. If I had one, it'd probably be a range toy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a revolver, like a traditional like 6-shot,
Yep.
like reloading just takes a while.
Yeah,
Even with speed loaders,
Yeah, you have to have a lot more finer dexterity with it all.
Yeah. Like when it comes to magazine-fed firearms, you're just going to be able to reload faster,
Yeah.
and that's just like a consequence of the design, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Like revolvers, you just can't. It's just not going to be as quick. But
Yeah.
I do think that they are very fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, if I had a lot more disposable income, one of my give myself a gift type purchases
Yeah.
would be a snub nose revolver. I
Dude.
I really like that idea of, and harkening back to, like you said, kind of the American culture of it, like being this, detective, beat it toots, these streets
Yeah.
aren't what they used to be.
Yep.
Quick, throw me a 38, Bob, he's getting away,
Yeah,
you know.
my buddy Nick had one of those,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
snub nose 38 special.
Yeah.
Terrible shot with it, but it's very fun.
Yeah.
It's so small, you can only get one hand on it,
Yeah.
So you're kind of shooting it in that traditional, like like when you see people like World War One, when
Yeah.
they're firing in 1911, where it's like it's sideways, they one hand that and their other hand's like on their hip.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of have to shoot it that way, kind of, because you're just not going to be able to get a second hand on it.
Yeah. I don't like in movies and TV where my pet peeves with gun handling in movies and TV, most people go like, they never reload. Well, that's also a factor.
Oh,
But
yeah.
for me, I hate when people assume like just one bullet, one shot's gonna kill someone. It can
Mm-hmm.
take a couple. And also, I hate when people, especially with handguns, when they only go one-handed or they go cup and saucer.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That bothers me so much. And
Or
yeah.
like you can see like the gun is just shaking around
Oh,
so much, but
yeah.
like all their shots are on target. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, come on.
But I
like-
will be, like you said, though, you pointed out very, acutely, I'll be a little forgiving when it comes to revolvers,
Yeah.
especially with snub noses, because you really, you could kind of jam your hand in there, but you really can't get the two-hand grip on it. Whereas, you have this more kind of wild and free, I hope I'm good because I'm about to pull. Okay, I did.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, no, they're fun. They're 100% fun. What's also fun. All right, kids, more technical difficulties, but what else is new? Anyway, we're transitioning now into another topic. As we enjoy firearms, we also enjoy games that also have firearms, one of them being Halo. And I don't know if you saw this. This came out literally yesterday, so this is somewhat breaking news.
Okay.
But for Halo Infinite, there are more updates coming,
Okay.
bringing new maps, new, adjustments to the UI, different Forge things. But they are also bringing back to Halo Infinite the Carbine and the Falcon. What are your thoughts?
Really?
What are your thoughts on that?
The Falcon makes me really happy because that was like, well, it's a warthog that flies,
Pretty much.
Do they have variants, or is it just like the main one from like Reach's multiplayer?
I'm not sure. I have
Okay.
not seen any footage of it yet, but I follow Halo on Twitter, and I have them set to notifications. Whenever they do anything, my phone goes whoop whoop, and
Okay.
and I saw it, and it wasn't gameplay, but it was like this. Imagine like how a car is shown in a showroom,
Yeah.
just the spinning camera, and they put it to the Reach theme, the classic Reach music.
Very fitting.
And then it's coming in the next update alongside what they're calling is, I believe it's the Vestige Carbine, which is meant to be a variant because it's running off of the shock rifle weapon model. And so
Okay.
You know the shock rifle from Halo Infinite?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it
yeah.
reloads the same way, and it's kind of a similar length barrel, but it looks like it's going to shoot green projectiles just like
Yeah, just like
a carbine. But
yeah,
it's very much in tandem with how we got the fuel rod spanker, for
yeah.
Halo Infinite. It's going to be like that. But the Falcon appears to be a new asset. I don't know if it's a straight pull from Halo Reach. I don't know if it's going to be the chain gun weapons on the side or the
Yeah.
grenade launchers. I'm
Or
not
the
sure.
yeah, because the green launchers would have been great.
Could be one of each. I'm not sure.
Someone's gonna mod it.
Oh, yeah,
Like 100%. Someone's gonna put Gauss cannons on it.
yeah. Dude, we don't have a Goshawk in Infinite, which is crazy.
Dude, that's so weird.
Yeah,
But I mean, adding the Falcon, that makes me happy.
yeah,
I felt like that they probably should have had it like in the first place because I mean, because like with Halo Reach, like that was the only way that you could fly something and carry passengers and without
Yeah.
being really goofy with banshees.
yep,
You know, so that makes me really happy. There's a part of me that kind of wonders if they're gonna add the ability to, because you have like the two like chain gunners, right?
Yep.
But then you have like the three seats
yep,
inside,
yep.
because that would be cool too.
I would love that.
Because I remember the Spire map for the Invasion game.
Oh, I love that map.
Dude, that was so much fun. Like
Love that one.
hopping in a Falcon and
Yeah.
then just like strafe running like
Yep.
the top, and then like you'd run and grab like the core or whatever, and you'd
Yep.
ride on it. You'd ride on the top of the Falcon to get away.
Or I loved if you had a jetpack, you could get out of jail quick by
Yeah.
just jumping off the edge and just doing a slow descent. I mean, that was the best.
That was a fun map. So if they had something where they could like leverage using Falcons, I think that would be really fun. Like doing like a legitimate like air assault or
Yeah.
something like that. But I mean, with Forge, I mean, people are gonna build their own.
They're
stuff,
gonna go crazy.
So it's like,
Yeah, it's unbelievable. What's interesting though is that like, yeah, Halo Reach introduced us to the Falcon. You look at like Halo 4, I don't really think that game is maybe tailored towards a Falcon type vehicle. Nor do I think 5, but with Infinite, I totally see how it could fit into the sandbox.
because what Halo Infinite has, what is it? The Hornet,
We have the Wasp,
Wasp. That's what it
the
is. Yeah.
single person UNSC aerial vehicle.
Yeah, because like that was kind of neat, just the fact that it like existed.
Yeah,
you
it-
know, because like Halo 5, they had the Wasp as well.
Yep.
If I remember right, but then they also had like the weird Forerunner thing.
That's right. They had. Oh, don't do this.
Whatever the heck it
Not
was.
now. It's not a Phantom. I think it's something with an H though.
Phaeton?
Phaeton. Yes.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
for you.
Like something mystical. And
And
then
angular.
like Halo 4 didn't have a UNSC airborne vehicle. If I
No,
remember
it
right.
was.
It was just the Banshee.
Just
I
the
think.
Banshee. They gave us the Mantis, another ground vehicle.
Yeah. Well, I guess you had like. I feel like it was such a missed opportunity because you flew a Pelican in the campaign.
They teased us.
And I'm just like,
They teased us.
why can't I fly one of these anywhere else?
yeah.
Like, it's not even in Forge.
They knew we all wanted at some point to fly a Pelican, and they gave us it, and it was like, okay, now what can we use it? In Forge multiplayer? No, just for that one.
That was a fun mission too.
Yeah.
Like, man.
I do miss the Hornet, which is you cut a Falcon in half, and
Yeah.
you have the nose, and then you can have the two not co-pilots, but the two people you
The
ferry
passengers,
around. Yeah,
they're just like hanging on to the side.
yep, just having a time.
That was really cool too, because then you could like carry around people with like a Spartan laser or something. You know,
Yeah, no Spartan laser in Halo Infinite either, which is a
that is
bummer.
weird. But I guess like, oh gosh, what is it? The
Skewer.
skewer. I was gonna say it's not the impaler.
Yeah, effectively is the invasion.
Say the thing that sticks you to things.
Yeah, it shoots a huge harpoon at you. Yeah,
The reload animation's so funny because it's just a giant stick.
yeah.
Like this.
No, it's crazy. And yeah, we've talked about Halo a bunch, but like Halo Infinite is I like the game, I really do. I sadly have to kind of work to like it a little bit. But what I miss, what really kind of bothers me about the game is that there's so much legacy stuff that I feel is missing, like the plasma rifle, brute shot, the Mauler, the carbine. At least now we're getting a version of it.
fuel rod. We have a version of it.
I mean, because they added the DMR, but it's kind of different.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a bandit rifle.
Yeah.
It's like a variant of the DMR.
which is fine, I guess.
They just took the scope off it and said, have it.
Yeah, it's weird because I guess like in terms of like gameplay balance, there's kind of a lot of redundancy in that regard,
Yep.
at least from the UNSC side. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they added it, but like, do they have the classic shotgun as like a skin at all, or
Not.
like a variant? Is it still just the bulldog?
It's still just the bulldog. I mean, they might have a skin that includes kind of the green fins on the front and rear sights.
Oh yeah, like the iron sights
yeah,
or whatever.
they
the heck.
might
Yeah.
have that, but we only still have that one shotgun. But
That's kind of a bummer. And I remember that was like a lot of people were not happy when Infinite came out because it was like, what did you change the shotgun? It's like,
Yeah.
well, I get it, you want to change something, but that seems like a really weird thing to change, especially when you were intentionally going back to like a more classic art style.
I know it's crazy. I feel that they totally overcompensated. Where again, no classic shotgun. The saw wasn't there. Granted, that's more of a new weapon, but
Yeah,
still not there.
I mean, I still liked it though.
I still like it too.
It was a super AR.
I like the sticky detonator. We only had that for one
Man,
entry.
I forgot. That was actually super fun.
You could shoot a grenade out of a gun, out of a pistol.
Dude, you could stick your own friends and just
Yeah.
like, hey, go into the enemy base for me, please.
I did that so many times. I'll pop it on the back of a mongoose and I'll say, "Please go that way."
Yeah.
And then
It
they're
was
like,
literally just like C4 from Battlefield.
yeah, exactly. And so, like, look, I'm very happy that the Falcon is coming to Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
It's long overdue. I'm happy that the Carbine in any capacity is coming as well. Long overdue. There's more Halo on the horizon. I don't know if you saw or not, but now that the company has been renamed to Halo Studios, great name, whatever.
It's very original.
They've showed off assets that appear to combine truly classic Halo pieces, such as the Master Chief from Combat Evolved, in a newly refurbished, redesigned setting akin to Halo 2001. However, he is like the enemies that he appears to be fighting appear to be more kind of the Halo Infinite Elite variants. Like if you do like a one-to-one comparison,
Yeah.
they look more modernized elites. And so, what I think is happening is that I think that for the series' upcoming anniversary, because we're going on whatever milestone now with them. I think that they're going to do a remake of Combat Evolved that brings together stuff from like Halo Infinite. So we're
Combat
like,
Evolved Anniversary 2.
yeah, Anniversary 2. That's right.
Electric Boogaloo.
But I could see them genuinely saying like, look, people love the grapple shot from Halo Infinite. Put it in Combat Evolved.
That would be really fun if they redid Halo Combat Evolved, but with like the Halo Infinite engine.
I think that's what they're doing.
But like, I don't know how this factors into it because I know that they're going to be moving off of the Slipspace engine to Unreal Engine 5 at some point.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's for the new Halo game or if they're just going to like make incremental updates and eventually just like switch Halo Infinite over to that or not. I'm not sure.
It wouldn't surprise me. Oh, by the way, the anniversary I was talking about was the 25-year anniversary, because in 2026, it'll be the 25th anniversary of the franchise. Because Combat Evolved came out in 2001.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I know, right? Doesn't that make you feel old?
Did I remember pre-ordering Combat Evolved Anniversary in like, what was that, 2011?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, 2011.
Dude, that's yeah.
I got that thing on disc. I remember.
I'm freaking old, man. Holy buckets.
But no, I think you're pretty close to what they're doing. I think that if they haven't already,
Yeah.
they appear to have done this shift incrementally with Halo Infinite. I think they're kind of trying to shift over what they can. I don't know how you can keep a game intact while still running its engine completely different.
Yeah, I don't actually know. Like, because with the Slipspace engine, that was a big problem as to why content came out so slow.
It was a drip feed.
Yeah, because like the Slipspace engine is old and like I'm not really sure why they chose it. But they had to build a lot of stuff from scratch.
Yeah.
And that created a lot of technical debt. Like a lot of the problems that they experienced during development is just like classic software development problems.
Yeah.
So right from the get-go, it was weird that they didn't choose a more established like game engine. Like
Yeah.
I think they should have just like even back in like Halo 5, probably even Halo 4 to be honest, they probably should have just jumped onto the Unreal Engine just
Yeah.
because so much stuff was all like so many other people did a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of like how the physics worked.
Yeah.
You know? But instead they kind of picked like an old game engine that not really a lot of people used and they just ended up like building on top of it. So now you have all this weird technical debt that
Yeah.
you can't really like it makes it hard to iterate stuff on, which when it came to like the whole fiasco of like colors and that type of stuff where it's like you can only unlock colors for certain bases.
Yep.
I think that some of that reasoning I think some of the reasoning was like a little bit of corporate greed when it comes to
For sure.
when it came to like microtransactions, but also like I'm pretty certain that some of it and the reason why they couldn't like change it sooner in a realistic time frame was because of how like the source code was just written.
Yeah.
Whether it be intentional for corporate greed, I don't think so. Like as someone who has had to maintain legacy systems as a software engineer, it is an absolute nightmare. Like a lot of times it's easier to just like redo the entire thing because that's the entire separate thing with software development. Like outside of video games, when you build something, you're probably going to have to maintain it somehow for like the next 10 years.
Sure.
So that has to go into like the planning phase. But games are kind of like a disposable medium. But when you're building something like Halo Infinite, that is kind of supposed to be like a live service game in
Yeah.
terms of multiplayer, they should have thought more during the planning of that.
I think if they could rewind the clock on a lot of things, I think with Halo 4, they probably should have done that as a game to launch on the Xbox One and not have it be released on both 360 and the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Because they're splitting up, that right there as well. That could unify the game engine a little more. But from Combat Evolved to Halo Infinite, all Halo games have been made on pretty much some version of their original engines. That's just kind of been just cobbled together with new coats of paint and.
Because I know that with the Bungie games, I think it was called the Blam engine.
Yes, the Blam engine.
And I don't know off the top of my head what Halo 4 and 5 were built on.
I think they're versions of the Blam engine, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that Halo Infinite specifically was the Slipspace engine but that was like its own thing, which is partly why it took it was like a 6-year development cycle for not a lot of content.
Yeah,
on launch.
Which is crazy and whatever. But yeah, even Slipspace, again, it's trying to work in a new way with old systems, and so there was a lack of modularity, if that's a word, with the old Blam engine into the new Slipspace thing. And so they're kind of wiping their hands clean now, and they appear to be going with the industry standard, which is now Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to what's coming up with Halo, with both what appears to be a Combat Evolved Remake Anniversary 2, whatever it's going to be. Because they're showing off, again, assets of that. They've hinted at also doing a direct sequel to Halo Infinite as well. We're getting a book that expands the narrative for that as well, which I'm excited about. And I think that there's another game in development as well. I personally think that they're doing 3, and I think that third game could be something akin to another ODST game, which would
don't give me hope.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Dude, I'm gonna be huffing that copium, man.
I will be too. But while we eagerly await what Halo Infinite, while we eagerly await what Halo is going to be doing in the long-term future of their franchise, we do not have to wait long for the future of another franchise I want to talk to you about, that being Battlefield. The Battlefield 6 reveal and the trailers. Into my bloodstream.
That reveal trailer, they knew exactly who their target audience was.
100%.
And it's me.
Yeah, it's me too.
It's like, oh man, I'm sorry.
Dude,
remember,
go off.
No pre-orders.
That's right.
Well, if I really like the direction they're going,
it's looking pretty good.
I like that trailer. Watching it, it's like, dang, all right, they're really going hard into the destruction, and then you hear the riff from Limp Bizkit break stuff, and it's like, yo, yeah. Man, it was really, really good. And I don't know, I don't have bad things to say other than just how they have misrepresented games in the past.
Yep.
You know?
I'm with you.
So it's just the wait and see, but dude, when they dropped, like, it's like, oh, wait, they're bringing back Operation Firestorm?
Dude.
Like, can we get Operation Metro?
Yeah, dude. Like
24/7?
they know that people are thinking about Metro.
Like, I do like the fact that they're bringing back, like, whatever their, what was the third mode where you could, like, create your stuff?
Portal.
Portal, there we go.
Yeah.
I have my beef with Battlefield 2042, but I liked Battlefield Portal.
Yeah.
Like, I liked it. Like, it was basically Forge, but for Battlefield. And you can kind of do what you want.
It's a huge selling point.
I'm very happy that they're keeping it for the new Battlefield game, because I think that's going to be, like, a really popular game.
Yeah.
Mode just in general, to goof around with your friends, because I have loads of memories of goofing around with Halo 3 and Halo Reach's Forge, you know, with my friends back in the day.
Me too.
So I'm hoping that there's still, like, that goofiness.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I want to be able to launch a tank into there with C4 and dome a jet as it's flying
Absolutely.
by.
Yeah.
Goofy things like that. I'm hoping that they stick to that more realistic kind of look, you know?
Yeah.
And don't go with, like, the crazy, goofy stuff that Call of Duty's been doing with
Dude,
Warzone.
they're saying all the right things. Like I was all in on this new Superman movie. That met my expectations. I was all in on Halo Infinite. Did not meet my expectations, but I'm still with you. Still ride or die with you, dude. I'm going all in on Battlefield. I'm going all in, for better or worse. I am now at a level of excitement to where I can only be disappointed. Like,
Dude, I didn't realize that Vince Zampella was helping make Battlefield.
I know.
Like, dude, I love that guy so much.
And
And but then I'm over here just kind of like, where's Titanfall 3?
I know. For those of you that don't know who Vince Zampella is, he is essentially the father of Master Chief. He helped create that character. He had a big hand in Halo. He's also had a big hand in Respawn with what they've done with Titanfall, Apex Legends. I mean, he has had his hands on a lot of great franchises, and now he's working with Battlefield.
Dude, it's like so much of our childhood as millennials can be traced back to like 4 people.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
literally
crazy.
It's like Vince Zampella is just, he's the guy.
But-
And then like voice actors and stuff, it's like, yeah, anyways.
But dude, like with Battlefield, like Battlefield 1, incredible. Well, I got introduced to Battlefield through Battlefield 2 when, doing the storming the beaches in Normandy. Like that was a lot of fun with playing that with my cousins. Shout out my cousins.
It was like Battlefield 1942?
Something like
Yeah.
that. And then Battlefield 3 is when I really got into like their multiplayer environment, and then followed it up with 4. I wasn't as hot on 4 as the rest of the community was, but I still really appreciate 4.
Mm-hmm.
But like Battlefield 1, for me, that's like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 1 are like the cream of the crop for me.
Yeah, like, because I started in Battlefield Bad Company.
Oh, good for you.
Like,
how could I forget Bad Company? I played that game. That game's great.
Bad Company 2 I played too, and that I played that a lot when it came out. Like that was good. But yeah, like I mean, I did Battlefield 3, then Battlefield 4. I actually played Hardline for a while too. And that came out.
Hardline, how could I forget Hardline?
It was kind of an expansion, but the multiplayer was fun. Like cops and robbers, let's go. Like the fact that they had objectives that were cars.
Yeah.
Like the entire game was just one big car chase, and I really enjoyed that.
It was very much the ODST of the Battlefield franchise.
Yeah, because it was like a spinoff, but like what they did, I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Campaign was kind of goofy because it played more like Far Cry.
I liked it, dang it. I had fun.
I enjoyed it too, but like there are situations where I'm a police officer and I'm like doing a bunch of weird shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm a police officer outside of my jurisdiction raiding a drug trafficker's compound with an M60. Like,
It's just what you do.
this is goofy.
The Battlefield version of cops.
And then you're running around like flashing your badge, like get on the ground.
Yeah, get on the ground.
Just like I'm okay with it. Hey, I'm gonna exploit these mechanics.
Yeah.
It was fun though.
It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it for what it was. I played kind of a lot of Battlefield 1 as well because like I liked it because that time period I'm already like incredibly fascinated with, and there hasn't really been like a good World War I game.
Yeah.
So the fact that Battlefield did it
and
did it well was like wild.
It was unbelievable.
The only real like the only problems that I even had with that game was there were certain types of like spectacle type moments, like grandiose moments that you can't really get in a World War I setting because they didn't have helicopters, they didn't have jets, there were no like skyscrapers on
Yeah.
any of the maps. So like those like it was kind of a bit of a step back in that regard. But in
Yep.
terms of the actual moment to moment gameplay, it was just solid. It was tight, and the way that the gameplay worked was really really interesting too, because you
Oh.
had like the like the charges and stuff, but even like the role play servers where you're only using bolt actions and you're
Yep.
just like beating each other with shovels.
Dude.
That was like it was so different and so unique.
Yeah.
You know,
In my opinion, they nailed it.
I
mean,
think so too. Like it was super fun, and even like the way things like wore out and got dirty.
yes.
Like honestly, it I know it's super goofy, but one of the things I remember the most about that game is the mud effects.
Oh, yep.
Like it was so good.
It caked on you.
It was just like, I know, a weird thing to be like, yo, I remember the mud.
But
The mud was excellent.
this is a testament to how good the game was, is that we can think of gunplay, sound effects, authenticity to the historical settings in the sense that
Yeah.
they weren't including things that, weren't present. Then you get down to the studs and you're like, don't forget about the textures of the mud.
yeah.
It's like,
So like if you're like in a trench holding the line with a gas mask, it's like you can see the dirt on everything.
yep.
And
Oh.
it was a really good time.
Playing Battlefield 1 with no HUD elements was,
Dude, there's very few games that were as immersive as that.
yeah. It's
Like even like the first mission in the campaign, it was like, hey, you're gonna hold the line and you're gonna die.
yeah.
And you're just like, nah, man, I got this.
Yeah.
And it really like did a very good job of showcasing just like the pointlessness and the horror of World War One.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah,
fantastic.
the atmosphere of the game was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Then we take a step back
Yeah.
with Battlefield 5, being World War II. and
Yep.
whatnot.
I played the beta for it. I never actually bought it.
I did.
And that was kind of like that's kind of when I fell off the Battlefield.
Yeah. And with Battlefield 5, they took things, they stretched the taffy a little too far on some things. They really tried to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted the atmosphere of 1 with the goofiness of previous entries and whatnot. And I appreciate the game in the sense that it can be fun, but I certainly do not look at it with the reference that I have for Battlefield 3, 1, Hardline, so on and so forth. Okay, so you hit the ball out of the park with 1, take a step back with 5. That's okay. We know what to do going forward. Here comes Battlefield 2042,
Yep. Which I played that one for a while.
for me, though, much like Battlefield 6, I ate those trailers up with a fork and a knife. I thought, this is it, baby. This is the future. In the same year, we're going to get Halo Infinite. We're going to get Battlefield 2042. There was a Call of Duty in there somewhere, and probably something else as well.
Yeah, probably a couple Call of Duties,
I would,
honestly.
yeah, a couple. Yeah. I was like, this is it, baby. I was like, gaming has never been better. We're running it back just with new hardware. 2042 comes out. It gets maligned in almost every facet, so much to the point that I went off the game completely. I never bought it, never played it, because for me, it removed everything great about Battlefield. No class systems, frustrating, user interface. I heard that the weapons weren't fun to use, and that you like literally did not have enough ammunition to really have prolonged engagements. Like,
Yeah.
But you have hands-on, experience with 2042. So being a Battlefield fan like myself, can you explain to me what 2042 did right, what it did wrong, the legacy of it, and how we can use that going forward?
I kind of like that sort of pseudo future setting, because like I never played Battlefield 2142 when it came out, because that was like a PC exclusive in
yeah.
like 2006,
That's a deep
I
cut.
think. Yeah, but like watching gameplay of it, I think if it came out, I would have really enjoyed it, because I like the idea of like having the like the Titans and stuff,
Yep.
where you're trying to like sink the home base, and it's like, but it's like floating in
Yep.
the sky, like the Avengers helicarrier.
Yeah.
It's just cool, and with Battlefield 2042, I liked the direction that they were going with the theme, because I love Black Ops 2,
Oh yeah.
still love it.
Yep.
Why is it $60 on Steam in 2025? I don't know. Activision, fix it.
It's a great question.
But when it came to like the setting, I think they did a pretty good job of it. I'm not a fan. Well, I guess I'll go down the list. I'm not a fan of what they did with the class system, because they basically got rid of it.
Yeah.
They went like the hero shooter route,
Yeah.
which is very weird. I think because
They
they
were
were
chasing trends.
Yeah, they're chasing trends. They didn't stick to their guns in what made Battlefield really good, because the way that the formula worked in the past is that there's four classes that are all really good at one thing, and that's kind of it.
Yep.
You have your own unique way of supporting your squad and the rest of the team. So you need to work together as a squad to benefit your team as a whole when
Yep.
you're capturing objectives, when you're doing like a big push into enemy lines.
100%.
With Battlefield 2042, they kind of made it to where each individual person can operate by themselves.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make a lot of sense because that's not why people play Battlefield.
No.
You can do things like that in, Call of Duty and that type of thing, because that's kind of what the whole thing is like Twitch gameplay, you know? It's like you are your own person, you care about your own KD, Yeah, there's team-based modes, but one person can carry the entire team in Call of Duty.
Yep.
That doesn't really happen in Battlefield because you need the medic to keep your team alive.
Everyone loved the medic.
You need the sniper to spot enemies and make sure that other people know where the enemy is so they don't get ambushed. You need the support guy because you need bullets.
You need bullets.
You need a lot of bullets.
You need that ammunition.
You need the engineer. Why? Because take out vehicles.
Yep.
Getting flanked by a tank is not good.
Yep.
You needed all those squad members functioning and doing their job very well to make the teamwork makes the dream work, right?
It truly is a team-based shooter.
Yeah, and they just kind of threw it out for Battlefield 2042.
Yeah,
like aside from like all like the netcode and bugs, and all that stuff, and how it was really borked when it released.
Yeah.
There wasn't really a reason to work with your squad.
No.
Like one person can carry the entire team in 2042.
It made me so mad.
Yeah, and a lot of the maps too. Honestly, I think they were way too big for the player count.
That's what I also heard too.
It was super, super stretched out where it was like individual conquest maps lumped together into one mega map.
Yikes.
So you spent a lot of time just driving with no engagements with gameplay that didn't really support that.
Yeah.
And something like Arma Reforger or any of the Arma games, that are more like the diehard military sim stuff, that makes a bit more sense because the entire thing is to simulate a military operation, not to, get the dopamine hit of, shooting someone.
Yeah.
With Battlefield, it felt really weird because they should have, for the maps had like a player cap that seemed way too low and didn't fill out
The environment.
Yeah, it didn't fill out the environment properly.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of PUBG because that game is fun, but their maps are just too huge. So you're running around and then finally you get into one engagement and you either win or you lose. And if you lose, you just wasted 20 minutes.
Yeah, because you've just been running around for 20 minutes, not finding anything.
And then they also chased the trend of what Call of Duty was doing with Warzone, in that their Warzone maps were sometimes comprised of individual multiplayer maps.
Yeah.
And so you could say, I'm going to drop on Rust. I will meet you over at Noctur on Toten. And it's like, on paper, for a Call of Duty nerd like myself, I'm like, that's cool. Again, as an idea, in principle, it really wasn't, in my opinion. I feel Battlefield wanted to try to chase that too, because they wanted to have their cake and eat it too. And that's what happened with 2042.
And I'm also not a big fan of how they used the lore of Battlefield 4 in marketing. They killed off like Irish in one of the trailers for Battlefield 2042.
That's right. I forgot about that.
For some reason. And I'm like, what?
And there wasn't even a campaign in 2042,
It wasn't even a campaign. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm just like, what the heck is this nonsense?
Yeah.
Because I actually, Battlefield 4's campaign, it wasn't crazy good, but it was still an enjoyable...
It was fun.
It was enjoyable to play through, Because I never play Battlefield games for the campaigns.
Yeah.
Except for Bad Company and Bad Company 2, because that's the gold standard.
Those are exceptional.
EA still claims that they don't know why people like those games so much. And I'm like...
It's ridiculous.
Did you make a cake and then not be confused as to why people like it, and you don't know what you put in
I
it?
can't believe it. We made this cake and people say they want brownies. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
We want cake.
So I don't know. In my experience with 2042, most people played Portal because people just played Battlefield 3
Well,
in
yeah.
2042,
Yeah.
which is actually kind of funny. You couldn't unlock really anything because it was just like it was just because that wasn't the main game, but people played it anyways.
I hate when games handcuff you like that. And
It was just weird, you know.
did you find 2042 to be a fun experience?
Yeah, but you had to work for it. You really had to look for it.
That's the problem. Well, that's the problem. Why would people want to invest time in a game that you have to work at to get a fun factor out of it? Like that. I mean, that's crazy.
I
to
mean,
me.
the stuff that I had fun with, like again, was like the Battlefield 3 like remade stuff. So
Yeah.
it wasn't even like the main game.
Yeah. So, okay, again,
Yeah.
Battlefield 5, whatever, you blew a flat. 2042, I mean, it's in the grave. Now we're going on to Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 appears to be a complete return to form. And
Yeah.
like I said, I was all in on 2042. Those trailers were great, and then I ended up passing entirely. I I mean, from everything I've seen, I can't see a world where I pass on Battlefield 6. I mean, they're bringing back campaign, class system, even more destructible environments.
Yeah, like the destruction looks good.
I'm
Like
really
really
good.
good. I mean, that's kind of what they're marketing off of. So like I get it. It has to look good,
Yeah.
but I'm like cuz even as much as I love Battlefield 3, there was destruction, but it was way more restrictive than Bad Company 2.
Yep.
Bad Company 2, you could just flatten the entire map.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what it was. Battlefield 3, you were a bit more restricted in what you could and couldn't do, and I think that was partly intentional just because of map design.
Yeah. Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 also kind of suffered from that too, to where there were some points on the maps that you could only alter, not remove.
Yeah, and like Battlefield 1, I'm willing to give a little bit more grace to just because so many of the maps were flat,
Yeah.
and there weren't really like big high rise structures. They were like villages in Europe,
Yep.
So there's only so much you can do until it actually becomes like actual trench warfare. But I would also argue that would be kind of dope as heck,
Yeah, I know, right?
Be like, I don't just put the respawn timer to like 1 second.
Yeah.
Just send me in,
Yeah.
me in, boss.
Give us that little bit of Call of Duty flavor in there with that quick respawn time.
Yeah,
But yeah, I have some friends that I play Xbox with pretty steadily. We play, like there's three of us. We play a lot of like Apex Legends, Rocket League, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we were actually just talking about what new game we should get to kind of change up our library. And it's a little ways off, but I texted my friends and I was like, guys, don't sleep on Battlefield 6. And I know one of them has played a little bit of Battlefield. The other one I don't think has played any. But I was like, fellas, like
My
this
gamers.
this looks incredible, and I sold them on the destruction thing, to where I was like, because again, in most games, kids, with Call of Duty, when you throw a grenade, you might blow up a door or a window, and that's effectively it. Really, the purpose of that grenade is to blow up the enemy behind that door and whatnot. With Battlefield, if you throw a grenade into a building, that whole section of that building is going to get destroyed. If there's someone camped in a
Yeah.
corner, remove the corner. Like,
That's why Battlefield Bad Company 2 was so popular, because when that came out, they came out in March of 2010. After Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 2009 one.
that was the same year as Halo Reach as well, 2010.
Yeah, so like that was a big marketing push of like, someone's camping, just delete the corner.
Delete the
Problem
corner.
solved.
Yeah.
Everyone was super hyped about that because,
Yeah.
it's the whole like, the diaper snipers, the campers, that. It's like, you're not good, man. You're camping in a corner. And I'm like, how would I just delete that?
Yeah. My dad's not a big gamer anymore. He got me into Xbox and gaming and stuff like that. We used to play a lot of Halo together, a lot of Need
Yeah.
for Speed and stuff. But what he will ride or die on is Battlefield. He talks about Battlefield the way you and I talk about Halo. It's
Dude, that's what I ended up playing when I wasn't playing Halo, because I was never, as much as I do, like there are like Call of Duties I actually really enjoy,
Yep.
but I was way more into Battlefield.
Yeah.
Because like I had a lot of dudes that were like graduating and like going into the military, so that was kind of like our commonplace.
Yeah.
Because it was it was quote unquote more realistic, and
Sure.
me being now, it's like, yeah, I was kind of an idiot. It's not realistic at all. Yeah, take a 338 Lapula to the chest and you walk it off. Like, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I like to think for me it's more realistic than Call of Duty, so therefore Battlefield is realistic. But
Yeah,
like,
it is a bit more grounded.
Yeah.
But it's a video game.
But they
so
they really appear to be leaning into the grounded aspect of it, because they have said that like we're a military shooter. They're like they said we're gonna have skins and whatnot, but I don't think they're going Nicki Minaj and
Yeah.
Family Guy and Spider-Man. I don't think they're doing all that. I think they know like people are craving a shooter that's not diet Fortnite,
Yeah.
and that we want something
Or like
much more
Fortnite
serious.
for 20-some-year-olds.
Yeah, we want something much more serious, much more grounded, much more tactile. And I think we're gonna get it, man. And I think that Battlefield 6 is supposed to come out later this year. I think it's the fall of 2025.
Yeah, it's like October, I think.
So
That is close.
that's very close. So we don't have to wait long for that one at all. I'm going all in. I'm gonna probably be a day one purchase. There's no way I'm gonna do a pre-order. There's no way.
Start streaming, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll throw some bits your way.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, well, as we eagerly await, the release of Battlefield 6, like, that's going to be a crazy one. But what you're also into in terms of gaming is something kind of completely different, something that I'm not familiar with at all, very much in the terms of like F1 and competitive shooting, how you took me and the other, listeners of this podcast to school on that. I now want you to take us all to school when it comes to Warhammer 40K. This is something that you're pretty into. The only thing I know about Warhammer is that it exists and that there is
Yes.
an adaptation happening with one Henry Cavill on Amazon. I believe they're making a series, but otherwise, I don't know if it's sci-fi. I don't know if it's medieval. I don't know if it's a video game, a tabletop, a book series. I don't know anything about it. And so I'm asking you to essentially give me and the listeners a breakdown of Warhammer 40K in this world that we live in, where we have franchises like Halo, Star Wars, Destiny, what have you. Why Warhammer 40K? What makes it such a fun game? And yeah, could you just talk about your fandom for it?
Yeah, well, I guess to answer the first question of like what all the different types of forms of media, really it's all of it.
Okay.
It's all at the same time. There is a significant amount of like media, both in terms of video games, books, the tabletop stuff, like music, lots of video games, a couple good ones, lots of really bad ones. But Warhammer like 40,000 is essentially sci-fi space fantasy.
Okay.
Because it's called Warhammer 40,000 because it takes place in the year 40,000. So we're in the future. We're in the far future.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so you're already more knowledgeable.
Okay.
Because the lore is very interesting. So originally, like we had Warhammer, like the tabletop game, like little minis and stuff, and that was like the early 80s, like 1980s.
And that's where it started.
Yep, that's where it started. And then they ended up doing like a spin-off of that came out in, I believe it was 1987, that they called Warhammer 40,000, which is like their sci-fi spin-off of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's essentially like where it started with, Warhammer 40,000, like first edition for like, it started off with, the little tabletop minis as you can see here.
Yep.
Little plastic soldiers, little space marines, dudes in power armor with guns and that type of thing. Well, these guys have flamethrowers, but it started off as like little tiny soldiers, and then basically they kind of needed lore after they made the game,
Sure.
which is backwards to how most things work.
Usually.
So they started to just kind of build like this universe, this grim, dark sci-fi universe in the year 40,000. And it's entertaining because it doesn't, like, the lore doesn't really follow traditional sci-fi tropes. Like, you'd see things like so you see more traditional sci-fi and they have like AI,
Yeah.
robots and that type of thing. AI doesn't exist in 40K because there already was an AI uprising. So instead, to do all the media labor, they lobotomize criminals and people that they don't like.
Okay.
And you turn them into basically servants that have like no free will.
Okay.
So it's very grim dark in that regard. Basically, you had the Emperor of Mankind unite Earth and like, what is this? Like, oh gosh, the timeline is, I haven't thought about this for a while. Like the year like 30,000-ish time frame, the Emperor of Mankind shows up. He's a space wizard. unites all of Earth, unites all of humanity across the stars because there was like, we expanded into space, there's a gigantic societal collapse. A bunch of worlds were separated from each other, and then the Emperor of Mankind's like, yo, I'm going to unite all of humanity under one banner. Basically just space Rome.
Alrighty, so the last thing you said before we had more technical difficulties was how the Emperor of the Warhammer 40k universe came in and made Space Rome.
Yeah, basically. Like he shows up at a point in time, and he like starts unifying like all of humanity on Earth, and then the solar system that we live in, and then all of the human colonies kind of scattered throughout the universe, and then he did it through like the Space Marine Legions, and he created a Primarch to lead each one. Basically, the Emperor is like a super crazy powerful like space wizard, but we don't actually know a whole lot about how he came to be.
Okay.
And then he used some crazy science shenanigans to create 20 essentially sons called Primarchs to lead all the Space Marine Legions.
Okay.
But actually 18 because 2 are lost because crazy lore reasons that have never been actually officially explained.
Okay.
Basically, Emperor's favorite son, Horus, fell to the forces of chaos, which is basically like, basically the 4 chaos gods live in the warp, which is like space hell, essentially.
Okay.
And Horus basically betrays the Emperor, causes this massive like civil war called the Horus Heresy, and Emperor becomes mortally wounded. They strap him to the Golden Throne, which is basically a gigantic, well, battery, kind of.
Okay.
And that's where he's been for like the last 10,000 years. And now we're in Warhammer 40,000. The Emperor was a demigod, but he never wanted to be a god. But everyone kind of was like, actually, he is a god, and we're going to create an entire church religion based off of it.
Okay.
So pretty much humanity is like a bunch of religious fanatics and stuff. They built a religion off of the Emperor of Mankind. And so, yeah, everything's kind of crazy and absolutely bananas. We got nuns with guns. We got Grey Knights that just hunt demons. We got salamanders, space marines that they really like burning things with fire and stuff.
Okay.
We got knights that are basically it's Titanfall, but a little more grimdark. There's a dude in there.
Okay.
It's crazy and it's wild. That's like the most oversimplified introduction to the universe.
Yeah, this stuff sounds incredibly dense.
It
Okay.
is very dense. Like the amount of lore on just the Horus Heresy, which isn't even like 40k lore, it's like 30k lore.
Yeah.
It's like 10,000 years before.
30K.
Yeah, it's like 10,000 years before like the main lore. There's 156 books on that one event. Like it's wild. Like there's so much lore.
You mean like literal reading material books
Books.
that I could buy off Amazon?
Yeah, like you see like the books over there on the top shelf?
I do.
The right-hand ones, like those are like the Horus Heresy books. That's maybe like 10 out of like the 156. That's not even including like the Siege of Terra series.
Jeez Louise.
There's so much lore. It's absolutely insane. But the universe is bananas.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And that's partly why I find it so interesting because it is like grimdark. It's kind of, horribly like, well, 30K is more like space Rome collapsing. And then 40K is more like dark and depressing and everything can't get worse and then it gets worse,
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of fun because it's like goofy,
Yeah.
Like it's terrible in like the goofy way of like where it's almost like satirical,
Uh-huh.
Like some of the lore is actually really cool. Like I mean, the Grey Knights is like the army that I play as, like on the tabletop. They're demon hunters. Their sole purpose in life is to kill demons,
Okay.
and that's very very fun. But like there is so much stuff that you can explore in the universe. You're never really going to get bored. And with the tabletop, like there's so much stuff in terms of like building the models and like, painting them however you want or like building them how you want, like mixing other parts and kind of making your own custom made minis. And then there's also just like the playing of the tabletop game too. That's just incredibly fun
Yeah.
because it's like you're commanding armies of tiny space soldiers, it's
Yeah.
like, that's fun,
And the figures that you're referencing to on the table here, I'll throw up pictures of them for the viewers. But These you all handmade, correct?
Yeah, like I painted them. I assembled them and painted them. So like for reference, like, well, okay, the Skaven type box.
All right, kids. He's getting a box. He's opening the box.
So as you can see, the models, they come like this,
I see it.
where they're just like flat sprues of plastic.
Yep.
So you cut them out and then you glue them together and then you paint them. They do come with instructions, but sometimes like you'll kind of make like your own models by taking bits and pieces from other stuff.
Yeah.
You see people do a lot of it with, like say if there is like armies will have like a character model that there's no official model for, so people will just like make their own,
Yep.
and they'll just get super creative with like whatever. But this stuff over here is, the stuff over there is for Age of Sigmar, which is like the modern day like Warhammer fantasy setting.
Okay.
So it's not like science fiction, but the models are still super cool, and I kind of want to learn to play like that version of the tabletop because like they're kind of similar, but they're a little bit different in how the games play. But Warhammer is fun because it's like sci-fi space fantasy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. Well, for me, looking at the figures here, first of all, I don't mean this like I mean this legitimately, and I'm not just saying this because you're my friend. I mean, these look like these were pre-made, like in like a lab, packaged and whatnot. You could just buy off like a Target, peg rack, because like their detail and their paint orientation on them is remarkable. And so like,
Well, thank you.
the fact that you hand painted them, like some of those pieces on these figures are so small. I don't know how you possibly found a brush small enough to get in there. Like,
Yeah, they're like right now I've been using just kind of like the cheap brushes that you can get at like Target or Walmart, but I do want to get like an actual like legitimate like brush set because you do need really fine brushes to get to some of the more, I don't know, the tiny areas.
yeah, you look like
know?
you need the pin of a needle to get some paint in some of these areas.
Yeah, especially for painting like the eyes and stuff, because a lot of them have like the glowing effect,
Oh, sure.
which I am not that great at painting those yet, but just to like get color in the eyes, it can be very difficult if you
mean,
have like a thick brush.
These look remarkable. And so, okay, so for me, I'm new to Warhammer, never played it. I just got a history lesson on the whole deal. What do you think is the best way for someone like myself and also other listeners and viewers to get into the series? Do you recommend starting at the tabletop, picking up a book? Where do you think is the best place to really start to get your feet wet in the universe?
Probably like there's a YouTuber named Bricky that has probably still one of the easiest like condensed videos of like these are all the major Warhammer factions and this is kind of how the universe is. He recently redid it in a two-part video series. I think his original is a little bit better, if I'm being honest. That's another thing that came out in like 2020, if I remember correctly. There's a part 1 and part 2 of every Warhammer faction explained.
Okay.
That's probably a really good introduction to just kind of the setting.
Yeah.
And once you kind of have like an idea of like the things that exist, just kind of pick something that you think looks cool and just learn more about
Just
it.
dive right
Just
in.
find YouTube videos on it.
Yeah.
Like Luton09 is probably one of the oldest YouTubers in terms of like Warhammer lore. He's been around for I think honestly like 7 or 8 years at this point.
Yeah.
Where his channel is basically just Warhammer lore is all it is.
Okay.
If there is something that exists in the universe, he's done a video on it. That's probably one of the best. That's probably one of the best channels to go for, and he's like the original.
Okay.
Just like a lot of his videos are like an hour minimum, so it's
Okay.
like put it on, listen to it when you're doing other stuff.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then for the tabletop, there's all sorts of like different channels. Like Play on Tabletop is probably like a good one because they have like a couple, because they just play games and like it's called 40K in 40 minutes is like their main video series
Okay.
where they actually play like tabletop games. They have some ones that are more like tutorials on how to like actually play,
Yeah.
which were useful. And then you have like Aspect's Tactics, which his whole thing is like, if you actually want to learn how to play the game, he will go into like the most nuanced parts of the rules.
Okay.
So there's like different levels of like where you want to go. Like most people, I'd probably say just start off with the lore.
Yeah.
You know, like it's way easier to get into than the tabletop because that can be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because the rules are complicated and there is a learning curve. Like if anyone in the area actually wants to learn how to play, like I'm totally down with teaching. You know, like like take an afternoon because that's something that I wanted to get really good at, and I think I'm pretty okay at is just teaching people how to play the game.
Okay.
Because the learning curve, like is steep. But when I started to learn how to play, I had some bad experiences learning how to play, both in terms of like me just not understanding how to play the game, but also just playing with people that simultaneously didn't understand how to play the game and would consistently interpret rules in a way that benefited them.
Sure.
Which is why I really wanted to get to a reasonable understanding of the rules because there's still stuff that'll come up where I'm like, I don't know how that's technically supposed to resolve.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot of moving parts in the game. But I had a buddy here last weekend that, no, 2 weekends ago, that I sat down with and was super interested in learning. And he had a really good time and he definitely wanted to play again. So in that regard, I think I did a pretty good job if they had a good time.
That's great.
And want to play again because especially when you're learning, it's like a very bad feeling if you get like curb stomped by like the veteran, you know?
Sure.
Because the goal isn't to like play an authentic game when you're bringing someone to the hobby. It's like, hey, I'm here to teach you.
Yeah.
Let's do a tutorial mission together, you know?
Yeah. No, I get it. And like you, like I'm interested in this now, and you've expressed to me how you think I'd get into it, and so I want to learn how to play at some point. But like, yeah, there's nothing more awkward and more tedious than when someone's like, "Let's try a new board game." Oh, great! How do we play? Oh, the best way is to learn as you go. You learn as you play, and it's like that might be true, but it's like it's not always incredibly inviting, and it's not always fun, frankly.
It can work with simple games.
Yeah.
But something as complex as Warhammer, it's like you really have to ease yourself into it. Like you introduce like the core gameplay mechanics, and then you introduce army rules, then you introduce like the special abilities that you use with stratagems. It's like it's very slow and incremental. Mm-hmm. Like you have to pace yourself because otherwise you're just not gonna you're just gonna drown under the fire hose of information. But it also helps that if you're getting into it, like you pick an army that you just think is cool from a lore perspective, which is why I say just start with the lore and just explore the universe.
Yeah. Right on. Well, I'm certainly into it. What's it like being a fan of this universe? Because again, like, Star Wars is big, Halo is big, Star Trek is big. Much like F1, you're the only person I know who's like really into Warhammer 40K. Like, I mean, does it have a huge following? Is it this huge thing? Is it kind of a newly budding thing that sprouted more so after COVID? Like, what's it like being a fan with this massively expansive thing that transcends mediums essentially? I
guess it's kind of interesting because I like Warhammer, at least in mainstream, actually kind of got pretty popular during COVID.
Okay.
It's been like I said, it's been around since like 1987, so it's not like it's a new thing, but over the years that there have been a number of like Warhammer games that have come out, like in what was it, 1997, I think it was. They had the game Chaos Gate, which was it was kind of like an XCOM style game.
Okay.
Featuring the Ultramarines. You had the classic Dawn of War in 2001, which fun fact, StarCraft was supposed to be a Warhammer 40K game.
Really?
That's why aesthetically, like the Terrans look like the Space Marines, and the Protoss look like the Eldari, and the Zerg are basically just the Tyranids.
See, I know about StarCraft. I've never heard about Warhammer. That's interesting. Why was that game annexed from Warhammer? Do you know?
To my understanding, Games Workshop just got cold feet, and they just pulled the license, which now I think that's why there's so many Warhammer games and why the quality varies greatly.
Okay.
They're a bit loose with their IP now.
Yeah.
But like Dawn of War 1 was like the first Warhammer RTS game that came out in 2001. And that's probably a lot of people's first like exposure to 40K. Because they had Dawn of War 2 that came out in 2004. But then the first Warhammer Space Marine game came out in 2010.
Okay.
So like those were kind of the games that I think probably had the most amount of like mass market appeal. Because they weren't just like good Warhammer games, they're just good games.
Good games.
So like there is a following, but it wasn't really as popular as like other stuff. Like the first Space Marine game was kind of a hack and slash game in 2010. So it was made on the Unreal Engine.
Okay.
Which is why gameplay wise it's a little bit faster, but like you can see some similarities to like Gears of War in terms of like how the characters move and like the weight that they had, you know? And then really like 2020, I think it was just like a perfect storm of like people just not having anything to do and like very unrestricted access to the internet where Warhammer just got super popular.
Right.
Because I mean, most recently they have, well, I mean, because they have like, you know, the Vermintide games, which was basically Left 4 Dead, but Warhammer Fantasy.
Okay.
Darktide came out a couple years ago, and then Space Marine 2 also came out like last year, which has definitely helped the popularity.
Oh yeah, that I do remember hearing about that one. There, I saw some videos about how
Yeah,
great
yeah.
that was.
Solid game.
Yeah.
Some things that could have been improved on, but like, I mean, as a sequel to the original Space Marine, I think it was very good.
Okay.
So like in terms of like mainstream appeal, like 2020 is kind of when it got popular. And honestly, like the YouTuber I mentioned, Bricky, I think he's actually responsible for a lot of it too, because like he was kind of like a relatively unknown like League of Legends like dude who made videos for that. And then the Warhammer video he dropped just as like a passion project, and he got a couple million views in like a week. I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
So now he's basically like the Warhammer guy.
Cool.
Which is funny. But he also does like other like video game reviews and stuff. But so he like had a lot of pull for like new players because there really wasn't like a good all-encompassing video to kind of like be like the drawbridge to help people like get into the universe.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think in that regard he did a great job of it. But that's kind of when people started, I think, to be more like aware of like the universe, because otherwise it was very much like it was niche, you know?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it was around, it was a thing, you know, people played the tabletop. I mean, right now the core rules are it's a Warhammer 10th edition.
Okay.
You know, so it's been around for a while. But the last like 5 years it kind of like started seeping more into like mainstream.
Okay.
Which is cool. But there's also like that concern of like, you know, how much of the universe is going to get diluted to, you know, fit to make it more approved by the mainstream, the masses, you know. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. I think I don't think things have really happened too much. Like I think with Henry Cavill's like Amazon series, I think.
Well, he's just a gamer, and so he's
a freaking nerd, and I love it.
He's talked about how great some of those video games are, and frankly, I think that got him the job at Amazon because he's a nerd who happens to act and look incredibly handsome.
Oh yeah, dude, we're talking about man crushes. Like.
I mean, yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah, but because like I know that it almost didn't happen because. Amazon was really pushing for a lot of other, like the typical, like, you know, diversity requirements and stuff.
Yeah.
But Cavill pushed back because it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's not what the lore is.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate. And, like, honestly, I never watched, like, the Witcher series just because of, like, personal convictions with, like, nudity and that type of things, you know? Because it's like.
Too. It's not my wheelhouse.
But. Like season 1 got like super high ratings from like diehard Witcher fans. Yeah. So that is encouraging for me that he'll actually do the Warhammer universe justice.
Yeah.
And the fact that he wouldn't cave on lore inaccuracies just for the sake of appeasing the bean counters at Amazon is encouraging.
Yeah, he appears to really treat the source material of his project with a lot of reverence.
Yeah.
And I find that really great.
And he like knows like a legit amount about Warhammer lore too, so he's not like a casual fan. I mean, he played Blood Angels for like the longest time, and then he started like his Custodes army, which is very fitting because he is Superman.
All right.
Like, because Custodes are like the super duper special golden boys that are basically the personal bodyguard army of the Emperor of Mankind.
Okay.
They're basically handcrafted super soldiers.
Okay.
So that's very fitting for him to play Custodes. But anyways, so I am optimistic about the Amazon show just because Henry Cavill's involved.
Yeah.
If it was anyone else, I would be very pessimistic about it.
Well, we appear to be entering kind of a golden age of video game adaptations, whereas, for years, I mean, you had Resident Evil movies that were so-so, you had Mortal Kombat movies that were so-so, you had Tomb Raider movies that were so-so.
The Halo TV show.
Yeah, that one notwithstanding.
Yeah. We'll just pretend.
In this golden era that we appear to be now in, Halo apparently did not get that message.
Yeah, but Fallout was I haven't watched it, but universally, apparently it was
I have not watched it either. I hear that's incredible. I have not watched The Last of Us. I hear that's great too.
So apparently season 2 followed the second game and people hated it. So I'm like, well, I mean, I could have told you that.
Yeah. I played the first Last of Us, loved it, ate it up. I was like, this is beautiful. Last of Us 2 came out, much like 2042 for Battlefield. I skipped it. I was like, I don't want to be a part of that.
It's like, I don't want to be sad.
Nope.
So.
and then I was hoping that perhaps the show would right the ship. Nope, they decided to just follow the same course of action. But whatever. But
yeah.
But we also have other things like the Super Mario movie. Adapting that. And
that was unexpectedly good though.
Great movie.
Like I was like super surprised when I heard about it. I'm like, can they actually pull that off?
So much fun.
And they did. It was
so much fun.
Dang, all right, sick. I'm
here. We also have 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Yeah.
I mean, like video game to movie and to television adaptations are hot right now. I mean, they are on a rising, ship and everything. Rising tide raises all ships. And now here comes Warhammer, and it appears to be getting a pretty legitimate treatment. You have Amazon who can write blank checks, and as we've stated, we have not seen Fallout. Apparently, it's phenomenal. And then you have Henry Cavill spearheading the project, who, again, as I said, has a lot of care and reverence for the source material. So theoretically, it should fire on all cylinders. But what I want to ask you now is, with a universe as expansive and as deep as Warhammer is apparently, what do you think they'll adapt for the TV show, and what do you want them to adapt for the TV show?
Yeah, that's a good question because there's a lot of direction that you could go in a lot of different places in the lore. Because if Henry Cavill is going to be starring in it, once he decides a character, that's kind of it.
Yep.
Like that's like who he is in Warhammer lore, and you're not really going to be able to change it. I think, realistically, I think what will end up happening is that he will probably play like an Inquisitor or something, because an Inquisitor, they're kind of like, they work for like the Inquisition that is part of...
Nobody expects the Inquisition.
Yeah, nobody expects the Inquisition. So like they work under like the ecclesiarchy, like the Church of the God Emperor, basically.
Yeah.
So there's like different orders under it. So like some of them like deal with like like demonic incursions. Some of them deal with like Xenos incursions, whether it be like Tyranids that want to eat everything, or I don't know, like POW, or the space elves or the space dwarves, whatever X, Y, and Z reason. So doing something, if Henry Cavill is like plays like an Inquisitor, I think that would be really interesting, because then the series would play off more like, it would play off more as like a detective show, but in the 40K universe.
Okay.
I think that would probably be like the best course of action. Like, I don't know, like I haven't read the book yet, or listened to the book, I guess. But like, there's one called Bloodlines, which is basically like it's like a noir book, but in 40K. I think that would be very, very interesting. I don't think it'd make too terribly much. Like, okay, depending on the budget, I don't think like a full-fledged like Space Marine story would make a whole lot of sense because you spend a lot of money in special effects.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to put a lot of money into this thing. As I said, they got Amazon bucks.
Very true. I mean, I like in terms of telling a compelling story, I think something of the more inquisitorial nature
Okay.
is probably like a smarter move.
Yeah.
Regardless, whatever they end up doing, I'm gonna watch it.
Well,
if I'm
of
being
course.
honest.
Yeah.
And honestly, if have you watched the in the short the animation for
Oh, that they did for
the
Secret Level?
yeah Secret Level? Did you
I
watch
have
that?
not. I've seen, again, clips of it on TikTok, and like that's like the most exposure I've had of it. Is that good?
We might have to watch it when we're done here.
We can do that.
Dude, it's so good. I will listen. I love it so much. I will start an Amazon Prime subscription and then cancel it just so you can watch it. It is so good.
I have Amazon. I could log in.
Okay,
to your
perfect. Let's
stuff.
go.
Okay,
Like,
so
dude, it's so freaking good.
so let's go down that trail for a little bit here.
Yeah.
Similarly, how I asked you if F1 was a good representation, the movie F1, if that was a good representation of the sport.
Yeah.
The Secret Level thing, which that's a series also on Amazon, correct?
Yeah, it's a series on Amazon, and they have one episode that's dedicated to Warhammer.
Okay.
And
But it's like an anthology series that takes from different video games.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
adapts.
They
And
like
Warhammer was just one of them.
and they had Unreal Tournament in there too. And so as a big nerd and a lover of 1990s first-person shooters,
Yeah.
that was a wonderful surprise.
Okay.
Very good too. But yes.
So with the Secret Level episode that was about Warhammer, it
Yeah.
was what, 20, 30 minutes, an
It
hour?
was like 15, I think.
Okay. So in that small amount of time, do you think that they did a good job representing the tone of Warhammer,
Oh,
the
dude,
story?
100%. Like,
Okay.
no question in my mind.
Yeah.
And so, little bit of history. So, because I forget what year this was. This was maybe like 2016 or 17.
Okay.
There's a dude. I don't know his name. He's known as the Astartes guy
All right.
because he made a very short animation that was maybe like 5 episodes long, but each one was like a minute 30 seconds.
Okay.
That was just called Astartes,
Okay.
which is like the half of like the suit, like this name of like the Space Marines. They're the Adeptus Astartes.
Uh-huh.
And he made this like little like small animation showcasing one of his homemade Space Marine chapters.
Okay.
Probably one of the like I think in total it's maybe like 8 minutes.
Uh-huh.
One of the best pieces of Warhammer media that has ever existed. Even at that point in time, and even today. So what Games Workshop did, they saw it and they were like, "Hey, bro, do you want a job?" And he was like, "Yes."
Yes.
So they took him, and then he made the Secret Level episode.
So
He was like the main like director on that.
So
which
this
is
guy that made a Warhammer fan project just for the fun of it,
Yeah.
just for the passion of it, gets called by Amazon or whatever. and
Games
says-
Workshop.
Games Workshop
specifically, yeah.
and says, "Hey, we love what you've done there. Come play with us." And we'll
Yeah,
give you...
literally. They were just like, "Hey, you want a job?" And it was sick.
That's
so
great.
he was the main dude because like honestly, when I watched it, I was like, "Dude, this just reminds me of Astartes."
Yeah.
And then later it was like, "Yeah, that dude was like the main producer on it."
Okay.
I'm like, "Dude, that is sick."
Yeah.
And they also released the trailer for Astartes 2 back in January this year,
Okay.
which is dope.
Right on.
It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that Secret Level episode, if you have Amazon Prime and you just want like a quick intro to the universe, this is a good place to start.
Okay. I'm sold. I'm 100% sold. Do you have any worries with the upcoming adaptation of Warhammer? Because there are some pieces of media that people think is just too hard to adapt. Though they've tried, like Dune, for example, an incredibly rich
Yeah.
and deep and long sci-fi book, which was thought to be unadaptable for a long time. They took a shot at it, I believe in the 80s, really did not work. It has a cult following, but whatever. Now, led by Denis Villeneuve, who's made 2 Dune films, working on a third, he appears to have cracked that code. Good for Dune.
Yeah.
Halo, as we've mentioned, has had its
Yeah.
struggles, and part of the reason why people thought that was unadaptable is because of the budget required for it, with how much of a sci-fi thing it is, where you have these huge aliens, huge ships, huge
Mm-hmm.
battles. It's not cheap, and then Paramount tries it, and they had their attempt, their at bat,
Mm-hmm.
and now that's kind of faded and whatnot. And so for Warhammer, though they have the budget of one Jeff Bezos, uh, do you think, like, look, this is a lot of material. They're gonna cut corners. They might dumb it down, or even if they have all the money in the world, it's just too ambitious to put onto a TV screen. Do they need to make it into a movie? Like, what are your worries about the project?
Um, I think my biggest concern is that my biggest concern is really Amazon trying to force in like requirements for like I guess the typical like like the diversity stuff,
Like the DEI stuff?
Yeah, like that I think is my biggest concern because the entire point of the 40K universe is that it's not
Yeah.
diverse.
I'm gonna see if they started filming, but keep going. I'm just gonna look that up.
It's part of like the goofiness of the universe where it's like a parody of everything because they have like, the Adeptus Arbites, which is literally just Judge Dredd.
Oh, I love Dread.
It's literally just that. The Emperor of Mankind and a lot of the lore surrounding him is directly inspired by Dune.
Love Dune.
Like, there's so much stuff in Warhammer 40K that is like specifically like intolerant and like kind of racist,
Okay.
because like humanity is like Xenos are bad,
Okay.
The universe is ours, so we kill everything kind of thing. So we conquer the universe. And then you have like, Tyranids that are literally just bugs. They want to eat stuff.
Okay.
They want to nom nom nom.
Nom, nom, nom.
And then you have the Necrons, which are basically undead Egyptian space terminators that believe that the universe is theirs.
Undead Egyptian space terminators.
They believe that the universe is theirs. They want to conquer it through any means necessary.
Okay.
So you have like a lot of like crazy bananas stuff in the universe that is intentionally not good.
Okay.
Like that's part of the charm of the universe is that everyone's a bad guy. It's just varying levels,
Okay.
So like when we're talking about like DEI type stuff, it's like that's kind of the point. Well, I don't think DEI is good in the first place, but also it's kind of the point of the entire universe of Warhammer because it's kind of satirical.
Yeah, it shows all the ugly sides of all these things.
And even like with a lot of like the whole like debates in the universe of like, gods and atheists and stuff. It's like because the whole universe has like gods, like chaos gods and like the Eldari, the space elf gods and that type of thing, because it's space fantasy.
Yeah.
But even then, like the arguments that people have, it's goofy.
Yeah.
It's like satirical. Like that's the entire point of the universe. So, my concern would be like Amazon just doesn't understand that, and like the bean counters and the people that care most about just views
Yeah.
would be trying to meddle in the lore to where it's not necessarily an accurate representation.
Yeah.
But even then, there's certain restrictions of what you can even do in the first place. Because like, if we're talking about like, if we have like something starring like an Inquisitor, right?
Yeah.
Henry Cavill's there. Well, if it's something with like the Ordo Malos, basically like the Order of the Inquisition that deals with demonic incursions.
Okay.
To basically like quelch like demonic uprisings and stuff. There's only so much you can really do with that and kind of get away with it because you have the 4 chaos gods. You have Khorne. If you ever heard the phrase
Khorne.
If you ever heard the phrase "blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne," like that's Khorne. He's kind of more of like a typical, like I guess when you picture like a demon, like a typical demon, that's kind of like what Khorne is.
Okay.
They have Zeech. He likes birds for some reason, and he's like the conniving, scheming, like you ask a question and he'll give you like so many different answers that aren't answers, but they're more questions.
Yeah.
You have Nurgle. He's the god of pestilence, so just bloat, infections, that type of stuff, lots of sickness. And then you have Slanesh, which is like the god of unspeakable excess. Depending on how far you go into like any of those as like the main villain, like there's certain things you really can't get away with on the big screen just because like of how the lore ends up playing out.
Sure.
you could do something that's maybe like Gene Stealers, which is more Tyranids, which is like dealing with like the Order Xenos of the Inquisition, because you have like because that would be kind of interesting because you have more like the bugs like they plant like sleeper cells,
Okay.
and you have more of like some crazy shenanigans with like brainwashing, that type of thing, which would be kind of interesting. I think you could be more lore accurate in that way and not really worry about whether if the content is like appropriate for certain audiences, Granted, if you did more of like a traditional war story, like say you focus on the Imperial Guard, which is just regular dudes in space fighting crazy monsters with like laser rifles and stuff.
Yep.
You could go the full Band of Brothers route too. That's what the Gaunt's Ghosts series of books is. It's literally just Band of Brothers, but in space.
Okay.
So I think there's certain paths that if your goal is to be lore accurate, I think there's certain paths that you should stick on because it would get a bit too crazy
Sure.
for the big screen just because of the nature of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But with Cavill at the helm, I think he'll be pretty on board with like sticking to source.
Yeah. And while you were giving that detailed explanation, I very subtly, not so subtly, was Googling on my phone, and I Googled the status of the Warhammer 40K series for Amazon. The deal to get the series going was finalized in December of 2024. And so
All right.
there is a possibility that they haven't even started filming yet. They could still very much be in the production phase, pre-production phase of building sets, getting contracts, and the whole deal. The reason why I bring this up is
So
that
28. Got it.
yeah, possibly. The reason why I bring this up is that the reason why I bring this up is that this is going to likely be made, shot, produced, and released probably under the Trump administration, meaning that with him trying to reshape our culture, I don't think. Hopefully, we won't have any issues with the forced diversity and inclusion and all that stuff, because he appears to be kind of getting away from that to making sure we live more in a sane and responsible and
Yeah.
a country more focused on common sense.
Yeah, and especially recently, like companies are kind of figuring out that like get woke, go broke, and that type of thing.
Yep.
Like what I think the Sydney Sweeney
Yeah,
like
American
Fallout
Eagle.
or whatever. Like that was actually kind of funny,
Yeah, she's got great
Um,
genes.
So like I think companies are figuring it out, which might be why Amazon kind of backpedaled on some stuff.
Could be.
Or Henry Cavill's just a baller in a shot collar.
Could
But
be that too.
who knows?
I like to think it's both. So yeah, well, I'm certainly looking forward to Warhammer, and it's funny with this conversation. We started on fast food and we ended in the year 40,000. So I just want to say thank you once again, Dakota, for coming on the podcast, for being the inaugural episode to bring forth my new equipment, my new technologies. Even though they fought us a little bit through the way, I can already tell via what I'm seeing on my laptop here that it's better, and the conversation was as great as always. Is there anything that you want to plug or say as a send-off for you today?
Yeah, honestly, like if anyone actually wants to learn how to play Warhammer, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to teach you.
Yeah.
Same with learning firearms. If anyone actually wants to like go out to the range and actually get practice, hit me up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, drop a comment down below if you're interested in inquiring about any of this stuff beyond just listening about it. But
Sadly, I can't teach you how to drive an F1 car, though.
Hey kids, right at the tail end of the recording for the podcast, I had one last spat of computer difficulties, so that's why this might sound a little different when compared to everything else, because I'm recording this after the fact. But after Dakota and I did our final wrap-up, we decided to watch that episode of Secret Level that he had mentioned, the one that has Warhammer 40K in it, and I can confidently say it's pretty gosh darn cool. The universe of Warhammer 40K is pretty interesting, and getting to see it done in such cool animation and in full motion like that was really, really cool. So if you're interested in learning more about that universe or having your first taste of that universe, I recommend that episode of Secret Level. That's a series that's done on Amazon Prime. And yeah, I think you guys should check it out because it's pretty gosh darn cool. And if you're interested in getting a more hands-on approach with the Warhammer 40K universe, I think you should start there. But otherwise, I just want to say thank you all for listening, and thank you for Dakota for being a great guest, and we will see you guys in the next one. All right, bye-bye.